forceful grip. They force him a simple that we absorbing quick. Took the people's signature, that mean extorted it. They forging it. If news ain't good, informants who informing them. There's a surplus, but they tell us there are shortages. Credit economy, mortgages, dollar that's supported with empty fortresses. But what's important is this: we courting ships, important gifts. Of course it is, what extortion is in accordance with an assortment list of foreign tricks. We ignoring which informant this, informant this. It looked like we were snoring tricked. Pedophilia and the government endorsing it. Yeah, eugenics is exactly what abortion is. You just vilify those insubordinate. Way to matrix engineer, that's unfortunate. Geopolitically we in a field that's for Israel. Wonder is it real? Rappers actors say they high, say they sip with pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big pharma set it up just to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in a field that's for Israel. Wonder is it real? In a world. What is up? This feels crazy, man. It feels like it's been years, man. What's up to the chat? Yo, before we jump in everything, I'm going to start streaming on Kick a lot in sometime exclusively because it's like fully uncensored. So help a brother out and follow on Kick. I also got to meet like minimum requirements and all this. So I got to try to get everybody popped over there sooner than later. So I'm definitely going to be streaming on Kick every time and then exclusively some. So there's that. I was waiting for it. Clone for show. Clone. Am I a clone because I shaved my beard? I'm gonna for the stream tomorrow, I'm gonna like fully shave so we can really get the clone allegations out there. So yeah, obviously I hope the audio is good and everything, but bring back the beard for real. Maybe it's just not warming up, so it's like perfect time to have a shaved face. But anyway, obviously been gone a minute, been gone for a while. A lot of stuff been happening. So yeah, I mean, I it's basically been like a year. I mean, I've streamed some here and there, but it's crazy. It's been almost a year since the summit. And when I would come on, I'd be like, I'm gonna let everyone know what's coming on, and then I just gone for months. So Earth is demonstrably flat. So for the update, right? Kai and I separated, which I'm sure some of you guys put together. Obviously, anyone that's watched my content, etc., knows how strongly I feel about children having both their parents. I think it's like probably one of the most important like variables in a child's life. So obviously I would do anything I could probably, pretty much to avoid that outcome. How should I say this? I mean, obviously there are certain things that can happen that you can't come back from, right?
And so that's that. So I would say I'm not gonna go way in depth here, right? But the last year's probably been like, well, I mean, it's the hardest year of my life for sure. It's been rough, um, and that would explain why I've been gone, right? I put my children first before anything, and it just that's what it had to be done, pretty much. So anyway, that's pretty much all I'll say, right? I'll say anyone that's familiar with those type of situations, they can be very daunting, I guess, to say the least. And um, I, I I've always prided myself on being really transparent on here. Um, this is kind of like a bit of a different situation. So yeah, yeah. I mean, anyway, so that's kind of the update. There's no reason to talk too much about it. We're going to kind of talk about what's going on in the world. So I'm going to start streaming consistently again. So that's cool. I'm maybe a little rusty for a bit, but we'll get back in it. I'm going to stream pretty much every day. I'm going to stream a lot on X, and like the world is crazy right now. So I stepped away, came back, and the world is just, I mean, it's like, yo, revelation, what's up type of thing, right? So, um, yeah, uh, I will keep everyone updated as I can, but kind of like the summary there is, like I said, anyone's familiar with those kind of situations, they can be crazy and expensive, very expensive, and I'll just say I got to put my daughters first, and uh, ultimately I don't see them all that much, and it's pretty heartbreaking. So I gotta ultimately get to North Carolina. I know one of the last things I said was that I was going there. Not there at the moment. I mean, that's pretty much all I'll say. I don't want to say too much. Long story short is like that's the mother of my children, regardless, right? I'm not gonna say anything bad about her. Obviously, I wish her the best. Always will. And yeah, stuff happens. That's kind of the way the world works. So anyone that has been watching my channel, you guys kind of know the way that worked. Like I've told my testimony quite a bit, but I have that like reoccurring thought that like we're in the end, and like the creator wants to use me to do something. And mind you, I mean, like it's literally a thought, so it's a thought because it's in my mind, but it's like not mine. And I'm aware people will mock that or say it's crazy. I mean, whatever, bro. Like that's what happened, and it just kept going over and over. It's like we're in the end. Like I have a job for you. We're in the end. I need you to do something. We're in the end. I have to use you for something, and it was just like wouldn't go away, and it was annoying. It wasn't like I didn't like it. Um, it was tripping me out. I was completely sober. I wasn't really like a strong believer at the time. So then I said the prayer. I'm not gonna say my whole testimony. I think I have a stream called My Testimony actually, but I said a prayer. Dear Lord, I feel like you're telling me that we're in the end, and you want to use me for something. And if that's true, give me an undeniable sign, right? And then just bang, everything just changed. And the next day was crazy, just all these crazy like synchronicities and coincidences about the Bible and about Jesus and about, it's like, this is weird. Like my Pandora's playing like a Christian rap song. It was just wild. And then I get home, take a shower, see the Bible. I'm like, I might as well at this point with this day, right? And I open the Bible up, and I open it straight to Ezekiel 38. And in the way that Bible was printed, the 38th chapter literally started at the top left. Start reading it, just this crazy war. Like, this is wild. Like basically all the nations turn on Israel and converge on it. And he lets them kind of get rocked for a bit and then, intervenes. So that's like, that starts my testimony, right? And then I've said, like, when I decided I wanted a wife, I prayed for one. Jack was like, well, go tell the Father what you want. So I did. And I'm not going to go really long on this. We're going to start covering kind of what's going on in the world right now. But I said the prayer. I opened the Bible directly to Hosea 1:2. I mean, I'm talking, said the prayer, said amen, opened the Bible, looked at, like, I mean, I've yet to hear a satisfactory, like, materialistic explanation for this. So if some materialistic atheist wants to give me some reductionist explanation for that, I'm all ears. I opened the scriptures, I looked down, and the first sentence, my eyes, like, that catch my eyes right in the middle of the page, is, the Lord said unto Hosea, go and take a wife. Specifically, it says, the Lord said unto Hosea, go and take a wife of whoredom and children of whoredom, for the land is whored away, right? And I was like tripping, and it was like perfectly still in the woods. It was like so still you could hear the water moving in the creek. And I like just looked up. I was like shocked. I looked up, and there, like, a breeze came through right when I looked up, and I saw the leaves like move and then go right back to perfectly still. And like right as the breeze came through, like my whole body started tingling. This is a 100% true story on everything I love, right? So, pretty crazy, right? So there it is. My life is crazy. My life is crazy. And I didn't know anything about Hosea at the time, right? But since then, and if, like, I think maybe my last stream, I titled it End Times, and I put like Ezekiel, Hosea. I kind of talked about that. And it's just, I was just getting shown so many crazy things, like, the week before that stream. And I find out, like, Hosea is about, like, basically the whole story of, like, Israel and how they turn and rebel and all that. And it ends up telling you about the Gog and Magog war, the end time war, in Ezekiel 38, which started my testimony, which is why. So I'll go more in depth in some of that in the future, man. I mean, we maybe go through it, but obviously Hosea is a crazy story, and my life is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. So that's where we're at. So now, what's crazy about it is what's going on in the world, right? And so to, like, quickly kind of give my take here, I'm like really typically pretty cautious with talking about the end, and I'm not big on, like, people saying dates and all this. What is going on in the Middle East is wild. And specifically, and I totally overlooked this, I didn't even know it. And Daniel 11:45, and I always throw this disclaimer out there, right? It's like, yo, believe the Bible, don't believe the Bible. I mean, like, okay, stuff is happening that the Bible says is going to happen. So, like, if we're just critical thinkers here, right, we're going to be like, okay, even if we say that these people were using it as a script or whatever, it's obviously something that we should, like, go look at, right, to figure out what's going on. And it says that between the holy mountain and the sea, the Antichrist will build his tents to build up his palace. So basically, like, the Antichrist headquarters, right? The holy mountain, Jerusalem, the sea, what's right in between there? Gaza, right? Gaza is literally right where it says the Antichrist is going to build his headquarters. Okay. What did they just do in Gaza? They freaking leveled it, bro. They leveled it. Like, ground zero, time for construction. And then they say, New Gaza. We're going to build New Gaza. And you got Jared Kushner, Donald Trump's son-in-law, being in charge of it, and them allotting like $28 billion to go build the New Gaza. Are you kidding me? And so I got that video pulled up. We can listen to some of it. It's like 10 minutes. We're not going to listen to the whole thing, but he just sits there and talk about how they're just going to straight up build like this high-end, like Trump-style real estate on the waterfront property in Gaza, which, if you guys have ever seen it, it's beautiful. And that is weird, bruh. That's weird. And so they displace all those people. So now we got all the stuff going on in Iran, right? And, shocker, Israel gets us to go fight a war that benefits them and not us. And then they're like, but we're not going to go over there. You know what I mean? Like, you got that. So they announced we're not going to put any troops on the ground. And then they just put troops on the ground in Lebanon, so like, okay, yeah, go do our work for us. Right. And then they've displaced 1 million people in Lebanon. And so obviously you have the new Israel, the Greater Israel Project. And what do you know? They're pushing people away in the direction of Greater Israel. They're literally displacing people, dude. So, dude, what's up with you, Caleb? I saw Caleb, like, your first comment was like, no flat earth. Are you a glober now? Like, what are you talking about? Because my first thumbnail wasn't like all about flat earth. I was going to cover like the Artemis thing, but I figured I'd wait. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow, right? Because I've already seen like a lot of glitches and stuff that's like, I mean, everyone knew, right, that they weren't going to actually try to pull off putting people on the moon. And that was obvious because it's just way too risky. Like everybody would be hawking that thing. But with AI now, right? But AI just has artifacts. It's not where it needs to be. So maybe that's what they're doing. They're just putting off the claim they're going to put people on the moon until they know that AI is like flawless. But we'll cover that probably tomorrow. Artemis. Davis filled me in on some things. Davis filled you in on some things that would make you think I had a seizure. Doesn't even make any sense. But anyway, man. But I do want everyone, like, this is just kind of like we're winging it, It always happens where I'm like going to go stream and then I realize there's like 50 things to it that I forgot. But we're gonna like get like the whole format, everything way smoother, because I'm gonna be streaming like pretty much every day. But I do need you to go follow on Kick. That's what's gonna help me out, and that's where I'm gonna stream a lot because it's completely uncensored. We don't have to worry about it. I just checked it. We're good. We're rocking on Kick. And so from my understanding, they like legit haven't censored people other than like something crazy, that like any platform would take off. So, all right. I've said that for years, waiting for CGI to be so good it can't be picked apart. Yeah. You're not going to stream every day. Okay. I mean, yeah, probably not literally every day, like 5 days a week, something like that. I am. I can understand why someone would be like, think I'm not going to, but like I said, man, the last year, it's just been like out of my control. And I'm going to prioritize my children above all, certainly above like anonymous people on the internet saying things. Right. So, I mean, it is what it is. 5 days a week would be great. I'm going to stream every day pretty much. So I want to talk about the Trump thing, right? So like, I just looked it up. 5 years ago, I made a stream. It's like, is Trump the Antichrist? And I basically say, I'm just going to still man this case. I'm not claiming he is. And I'm certainly still not claiming that. But what is interesting, right, is Trump. Why's I got my name down there? Trump is like being called the non-Jewish Messiah by different Jewish rabbis, right? And I don't know if you guys knew that, but then they say like, oh, look, his name equals up to like the Messiah's Hebrew gematria in numerology. And then they come give him like the silver crown, right, of the Messiah. So it's like, it's a pure silver crown that's only supposed to go on the head of the Messiah. And then you got like these top Jewish leaders coming and giving Trump the Jewish Messiah crown. What is that? And, they didn't put it on his head, but it's always supposed to go on the head of the Messiah. And so the question is like, yo, is it eventually go on his head? Is he going to put it on Jared Kushner's head? Like, who knows, right? There's obviously all the stuff with Jared Kushner. And, he is Jewish. And, of course, Ivanka, Trump's daughter, converts. And that guy's just like a creepy weirdo. If you've ever like watched him, he just like looks like his eyes are black. He's just super weird. So anyway, I think I'm not gonna say like I don't know, like he has like the biggest real estate deal in the United States history is like $1.8 billion. He gets 666 Fifth Avenue. They like at one point were manufacturing like RFD chips on the sixth floor. He really wanted that property, right? So much that he way overpaid for it. And so he's got 666 Fifth Avenue. And then you get into all this other crazy stuff, right? Like obviously you have the author that writes the novel The Last President. He also writes the book about like the adventures of Barron, right? Which is Barron Trump. That's Trump's son. And in that book, it's like his like there's like a master called Don or whatever, and he also writes The Last President, where there's a final president elected, and then people start like protesting against him, and they go protest like right where Trump Tower is in New York. In the book written in the late 1800s, and it's like, oh, I've never heard a president talk about the third term before, except for Trump making jokes about it. Well, then they'll just suspend elections if we're in a time of war, right? And the end is not near. Okay, I mean, okay, right? Who knows? But this is what I want to ask you. Okay, let's just think about something hypothetically. If the Al Aqsa Mosque, right? That mosque in the Middle East is like the third most prestigious, like landmark for Islam, right? They believe that Muhammad ascended to heaven there. It's built on top of the ruins of the second temple, right? That Yeshua, Jesus, said that that was gonna be destroyed, and it was. That's where they want to build their third temple, right? And so when I was talking, I'm like, dude, they gotta destroy that. What more perfect opportunity to destroy the mosque than when you have this war going on with Iran and everything, right? Like a few days later, they got like missiles like landing within 200 meters of the mosque. They shut it down. They don't let anybody go there during Ramadan, even the last day. First time ever since like the 60s. All this stuff, right? Obviously, just going ahead and getting people prepared for the idea that that thing could get hit. So if it gets hit, they're going to probably say it was an Iranian missile, right? Iran's going to come out and say it wasn't. If other people find out that it wasn't, or that Israel hit the mosque and lied and claimed it was Iran, which is something that they would do as people, they love their false flags. What do you think happens? All of a sudden, all the Muslims are on the same team, bro. Like they believe that Muhammad ascended to heaven there. Again, you can think it's all fake. You can think all religion's fake. It's all fake. Doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, right? Like there's over 1 billion people that don't think it's fake. 1 billion allegedly. I think the world population is a psyop. I think China maybe has like 500 million. It's literally impossible for China to have as many people as they say that they do. Do you guys know that? Side note, did you guys know that like if you go to like the 50s when like the Communist Party takes over, the CCP, they have like, I don't know, 400 million or something like that. And then they implement the one child policy. And if you're going to like 3x your population, uh 3 to 4x it, which is what they claim happened in the next like 60 years, then each woman would have to have about 5 children. And bro, and they were like, they had one child policy, but conveniently their population statistics shot through the roof once the CCP's in charge. It's all fake. That's all fake and gay. China does not have over 1 billion people. It's all fake. So take China out of the world population. India, super sus. If you look into it, those numbers are super inflated. It's like highly like speculative. So there is not as many people in the world that they say, right? And so when I reference like stuff like, oh, there's over 1 billion Muslims, whatever, there's just a lot, right? That's all. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of people. They're going to be pissed. And so you have like the Shiite Muslims. You have like all these Muslims that aren't necessarily on the same page. You got the Gulf states that are like allied with the U.S. and really it's just like more of an economic agreement. And then they let us put our bases there, but we're supposed to protect them, which we clearly didn't. And so they're already not very happy with us. They're getting dragged into this, right? And all kinds of civilian infrastructure is being hit within in the Gulf states. And so, and I'm giving you like just a synopsis from my perspective, right? I'm not going to get all in the weeds, every day. I'm not going to come every day, be like, what's the most recent propaganda talking point? It's like the fog of war. The fog of war is a term. It's a phrase that they just blatantly tell you everyone's lying. This is pure propaganda, right? Like the propaganda is so egregious during times of war that they openly admit it. I mean, it's just like we have to do that, right? And like, I guess if you're going to be fair, obviously you kind of would have to do that. You wouldn't want your enemy to know exactly what you're doing. You would want to mislead them or guide them to do something else and stuff like that. So it's largely a war of public perception, right? So like with this whole story about the US pilot having to eject, and I'm sure you guys may have heard that, but so like I guess like Iran is shooting down a fighter jet. U.S. pilot ejects. Both of them eject, and then they find one. The other one's lost. And then supposedly he, escapes and he climbs up like 7,000 feet or something on a mountain, and he has his little beacon, and they're able to find him and extract him and all that, right? Like, just think about this. If like all that's just real, the way they say it is, why would they ever even let us know that? Like the worst thing you could do is tell the world that there's like an American soldier or pilot out there, right? When if they didn't take him for hostage, they have all this leverage because the American public know. And the point I'm making is if they announce it, all of a sudden that guy's super valuable for Iran if they wanted leverage. Obviously, people that aren't like new to my channel, like the world's a stage and a lot of stuff is like scripted. A lot of stuff is real though, right? Like it's not like nothing happens. And if you just take your brain out and put it over there and say nothing happens, it's like, all right, bro. I mean, cool story, I guess. I mean, and to kind of like join that at the hip with arrogance is weird. But at the same time, obviously we know a lot about the earth. The earth is being lied about. Space is being lied about. So there's obviously like a lot of agreements at the higher ups, but there's also a lot of disagreements. I mean, I for one cannot even conceive of this idea. I'm not saying it's not true because I'm not appealing to incredulity or anything, but like that just literally nothing's happening. Something's happening, bro. Something's happening. And so I'm just going to say, I think people might be sleepwalking through the end. And I'm not an alarmist. I'm not saying that I know that it is that way, but you would see how if people are always saying it's the end, and people said that in Desert Storm, people said that here, and people are always saying it's the end of their book happening, then like people just get desensitized and they don't care. They don't want to hear it. They're like, okay, yeah. Just like the 7 decades before you, bro, we get it. If it ever were to get to this climactic moment, everyone would just kind of dismiss it and sleepwalk right through it, right? So, and you can obviously see why, like, a lot of that kind of makes me uncomfortable. I gotta get to North Carolina, but I trust the creators in control of a lot of that. But I'm not big on fear at all. Like, I'm not big on the fear porn thing. I'm just saying people should pay attention to what's going on. Okay. So let's kind of let's dive in and examine some of these ideas here. I see a couple super chats. Let me check them out. Adam, thank you for the super chat. I think they're both no messages. Thank you. No way, but yeah. And Adam, thank you guys for super chats. I'll have like everything set up better tomorrow. Or we'll basically just maybe like pull the Fuentes format. We just play the super chats out loud, and I'll run through them at the end of the stream. All right. So I want to show you guys this. If you haven't seen it, it's so creepy and weird. Like, isn't it wild that like Daniel 11:45 says that the Antichrist is gonna build up his palace in between the holy mountain and the sea, bro? Like, and then this weird, creepy Kushner guy who was in charge of like the Middle East peace deals and the Abraham Accord, and like it's just insanely powerful behind the scenes, and no one really knows that much about him. And he's like the Jewish son-in-law of President Trump, he's in charge of rebuilding. Of course he is. Like what? They're literally putting $28 billion into building this like high-end real estate after they just level Gaza and displaced all the Gazans. Bro, I mean, that would make more sense. It was just like irrational. It didn't even make sense. They're just like bombing literally everything. Why? Like, okay, everyone's been pushed out of there. We like, there's no one there, bro. No, they had to just literally demolish it and turn it into a parking lot so they could wipe it clean and then rebuild like the Antichrist headquarters, basically. That's just happening right in front of the whole world, right? So if it's not that, it's just a huge coincidence, I guess. And if it is that, you can see how it just goes right under the radar. He's just sitting there building it like no big deal. Let me show you guys. This guy's such a creepy weirdo.
Steve, and I have to say, one of the great honors for me of being able to work on this has been working with Steve, who really is as brilliant as he.
Of course, it's glitching. Can you guys confirm that you can? You guys can hear it. You can hear it. I'll have everything running smoother. Like I'm trying this. I was trying like Talk Studio and on the browser, and just everything's running smooth. As soon as I'm ready to go live, it just starts glitching out. So if the video's like unbearable, we'll just not be able to watch it. What can you do? But go follow me on Kick. That's what you can do. Go follow me on Kick. Help a brother out. Sounds good. All right, cool. Where'd this creepy weirdo go? There he is.
He is. His heart is tremendous. He's a lot of fun to be with.
That's just infuriating. Let's see if it works over here. I mean, I'll tell you guys, I guess I kind of assume that people know some of this stuff, and I have covered it in the past, but I'm gonna pull up a different browser. But so you have like what's it called? International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance or whatever, the IHRA, which is the same people that made the anti-Semitic speech guidelines or whatever, which is basically like just don't say stuff that's true about Israel and Jews. But I mean, some of them are reasonable, but some of them are just ridiculous. But anyway, like don't say that Jews killed Jesus. Anyway, so those people, they come give him they go give him an award 2 different times, right? And so they give him that Messiah crown. Okay, look, guys, can we just be real? Can we like sit back for a second and say, okay, all right, there's a group of people, they're kind of like religious fanatics, and they say that they're chosen people, that God chose them, and that they're like special. And then a lot of them are low-key like ethnic supremacists, and they view people that are not Jewish as inferior to them. Like they're literally chosen. They're like ethnic supremacists. Not all of them, and I'm not going to continually make that disclaimer because I'm not gay. And if you're not an adult and you can't understand that, then that's really not my problem. Obviously, it's not all Jews, okay? But it is like a pretty surprisingly popular sentiment that, ethnic supremacy is permissible, I guess, for that group. And, they can have an ethno-state and all that, blah, blah, blah. So what's interesting, right, is that a group of people that are that serious about this idea that their Messiah is coming, right? And obviously, I would assume most people know this, but let's just zoom out, right? You have Jesus, Yeshua, he comes, okay? He's from the line of Abraham. So you have like the line of Abraham, and you have all the Abrahamic faiths, right? So you have Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. They all come from Abraham. All the prophets come from Abraham. All 3 of these groups agree that those are the prophets, that those are legit the prophets. They all come from Abraham. Abraham was like the most obedient, and you have all the prophets. And then you keep following down, you end up getting the Messiah. So What does Israel do? So a lot of people are like, those aren't the chosen people in the Bible. Like you think those are God's chosen people? Like, look at what they're doing. It's like, that's what they did the whole time, bro. Like, what are you talking about? They've been doing that the whole time. They've been killing the prophets. They rejected the Messiah. There's like whiny, like they have a whole entire like sea opened up for them, and they get to the other side and start complaining. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean that's not them? That isn't that exactly how they would be behaving? They behaved that way the whole time. That's what's such a trip about the Hosea thing, and like just kind of my whole life, right? I'm waiting until I know exactly what it is he's wanting me to do with everything that's happening and all the parallels and all that. But it's very clear that like my testimony has like a lot of significance for something. Like that's my opinion humbly as I like whatever. I am hesitant to say stuff like that. I get that it can come across like weird or narcissistic. It's like, it's not that, man. Like if I could say everything, you would be like, what's going on? Right. I like, trust me. And it is very interesting because like it's about the end. Like the whole story of Hosea is there's the prophet Hosea. He has a wife, and it's an analogy for the creator, God, Yah, and Israel, right? So you have God and Israel, and then you have Hosea and his wife, because it's like a marriage. Like all throughout the scriptures, you're basically told that your relationship with the creator is akin to a marriage. And it says, don't take Yah's name in vain. Don't take the creator's name in vain, right? And people think that means like saying GD or like stumping your toe and saying Jesus. That's not what it means at all. It means don't take his name. You know how like a wife takes a husband's name, right? It's saying don't take his name in vain. Like if, say, a wife took a husband's name but knew, right, that she wasn't actually going to be loyal. It wasn't really going to be forever. Like she wasn't really going to be like a good wife, right? It was insincere. That would be taking his name in vain. So it's talking about like taking his name, claiming him, right? Don't take his name in vain, meaning insincerely, without meaning. It would be unrepentant, for example, basically playing games with them, like doing the God talk, but knowing like, yo, I'm not going to actually like listen to all this stuff, right? Don't take his name in vain. So it's just like a marriage, and that happens over and over and over. And we're told like, Yeshua, like the church is his bride, right? And so it's very enlightening. I will say, like, over the last year for me, right, I had a couple moments. I specifically remember like in July, and this just made so much more sense to me. So like to break down kind of the analogy in Hosea, right? It's like, it's how the creator is with us or with Israel, right? Obviously there's like the spiritual Israel. Not everyone from Israel is of Israel. So, but it's like there are the actual group of people, like the ethnicity that the lines come from. And that's why it was important. The Messiah comes from there. And the Messiah kind of comes, he fulfills the law, and he says, this is how you live it out perfectly. And, everyone can do this, but it was important that, because like people were grafted into Israel before that, right? It isn't just like it's a special group of people and no one else is let in. It's like, no, some people that are born in that group aren't even part of like the spiritual Israel, right? It's very explicit. Not everyone from Israel is of Israel. And then Galatians 3:28, there is no Jew nor Greek, nor bond nor free, right? Okay, but this is a trip, because we are if it isn't obvious to people that we're watching the world about to turn on Israel, I don't really know what you're doing, right? Like, so what is Israel doing? They're pushing people. They're just displacing people. Displace millions of people in Gaza. Okay, on to the next. Drag America into another war. Like, what do you think? If you were to poll Americans, what do you think their sentiment about Israel is? Now, poll Americans under the age of 40. What is their sentiment about Israel and how it pertains to wars in the Middle East, right? The whole reason that Trump was popular, we're going to say got elected, he was selected, it was all scripted, but they did get the popular sentiment behind him. Why? He just saying all these stupid wars in the Middle East, we're not doing that. And he claimed to be the president of no wars, blah, blah, blah. Everyone that's paying attention at all has put together that Israel has consistently manipulated us and got us to go fight their wars. Like they run us, right? And they're just like, go do this, go do this. They give us some fake intel, whatever, they manipulate us to go into war. It's obvious. They have a list of 7 countries and they're just knocking them down one by one, and they use us to do it, and they manipulate us, and it comes out the intel was fake or whatever. It doesn't matter. Mission accomplished. We go and we just like murder 1 million people in like, was it Iraq or Afghanistan? Just million, just murder 1 million. I think it was Iraq, right? We just murder 1 million people. We do like civilians. We do all this crazy stuff. What did we gain out of like the wars in the Middle East? What did America gain out of it? Literally nothing. Like nothing. Nothing. Although we did get something, right? Coincidentally, right before we go over there, they start to realize that they're above Gilgamesh's tomb, right? So you have Baghdad over there in Iraq, and they realize like, oh, they're kind of using like LiDAR and scanning capabilities and all that. And the tomb of Gilgamesh, they realize is below them. There's all these separate secret chambers and all that. And then we conveniently go right over there right after that and invade. And then we set up right over top of the tomb and we start raiding the museum. And that's all come out. Maybe we can go in depth in that later because it's becoming very relevant now, obviously. So there are these ulterior motives, and they are on a spiritual war timeline. So if you're one of these like condescending, like this is all fake, this book's so fake, that's what's up. Guess what? The people that are like running things, they don't think so. The people that are running things, they don't even think it's fake. They're starting entire wars to go get the tomb of Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh, the man of many names, Osiris, Nimrod, the guy that was supposedly like 2/3 man, 1/3 God, or vice versa. Yeah, like 2/3 man, 1/3 God, and was a giant and ruled over the whole world and then tried to build a tower all the way to like heaven. That crazy story about this giant that walked around with lions and ruled the world. That guy? Yeah. Apparently the government seems to think it's not so fake, and they wanted to go get his tomb, and it was like really important, right? And you guys may have seen the email that like from Hillary Clinton, right? Where the subject is like the remains of Gilgamesh. What happened? Where did they put it? Where they take the remains of Gilgamesh? So all the other stuff is just for the masses, right? It's for the peasants. It's for the goy, right? It's just like the goy slap. It's like, here you go. Here's what we're doing. Oh, weapons of mass destruction. Oh, nuclear bombs, whatever, right? But no, it's so much bigger than that. It is a spiritual war. And sometimes the spiritual war turns into literal physical kinetic war. And so all these people doing all this war analysis and if you don't know that yet, bro, if you haven't put that together, you don't know what's going on. Okay. It's way, way deeper. Where does it end? Right. Before I went on that like side rant, right? Where does it ultimately end up in the Gog and Magog war? You have all the nations being brought against Israel. And it says he'll put a hook in their mouth and draw them in. So they won't be able to resist. Like the creator actually brings them to do it. They're actually acting on his behalf because he's going to judge all the nations. He starts with Israel. Okay. So guys, I mean, has there ever been a time that you have been alive or can look at in recent history that the world has been closer to turning on that little place over there called Israel? Okay. I mean, we're talking like international courts, war crimes, all that. Anyone that's paid attention at all, they're not happy with them. And then what happened? The worst thing that they did was Gaza, right? Because what happened was a bunch of people went and looked at them. They had basically they were flying under the radar. Now all of a sudden they put a microphone or a microscope on top of them, and everyone started checking them out. And like, oh, they've been doing this the whole time. You go all the way back. Like USS Liberty is light work, right? Say it's an accident, who cares? Whatever. Like that's nothing compared. They have spies all the time. Anyone that comes out from the intel agencies will tell you, like Mossad, they're very good at what they do. Sometimes we have like overlapping agendas or motives or whatever, like interests, but oftentimes they are spying on us, manipulating us. That's just how it works. Espionage. And they're very good at what they do, but they think that we're beneath them. Basically, they're just like, we're just going to use the US for what we need to use them for, right? So like, what could Israel do that would make people even more mad? Like, okay, this is like such a crazy idea, right? Like for this prophecy to come true, some pretty crazy stuff has to happen. There has to somehow, like, every nation in the world has to turn on Israel. This little bitty state, it's so small, it has to be labeled off in the water beside it. It's tiny, right? It was like the size of New Jersey, right? So what could possibly happen where all these people are so pissed they actually begin to physically invade, like for kinetic conflict with Israel? What could happen? Well, we watch them just straight up do an ethnic cleansing in front of everyone. And I mean, that's what it was by definition. Like, by definition, like, that place was ethnically cleansed, right? So whether we agree with it, disagree with it, think it was supposed to happen, think that it doesn't matter, like, the ethnicity that was there, it was removed. Okay. And you got millions of people that were displaced. Now they're doing that in Lebanon, 1 million people displaced. And everyone knows it. There's something called the Greater Israel Project. IDF soldiers have it on their uniforms. Like, it's just a well-known thing, right? And let me show you. Because so there's the Greater Israel. Here's the Greater Israel. Here's Netanyahu himself holding it up. The new Middle East. Greater Israel. Whoa, that's a lot bigger than what it is right now, right? So how could you do that? Like, how could you pull that off? There's no way that they could actually pull off like the Greater Israel. See how much bigger it is? Well, if you bring up the Greater Israel Project and you say Israel wants to literally just forcibly expand their borders, right? People are like, nah, it's a conspiracy theory. You're crazy, you know? And like, people will quickly just just say you're anti-Semitic, I guess. Like, basically any criticism. Hey, I really dislike ethnic supremacy. I don't think that any group of people is literally intrinsically, innately, and inherently better than all other people, like literally superior to them, and like the creator likes them more. I don't vibe with that. I don't think that there's like humans and then there's like a superior group of people or subhumans, or that you can literally manipulate and lie and betray and steal and push them around and kick them out or kill them or whatever because they're just like, I don't like that. You're anti-Semitic. Like, that doesn't really work. So like, the trick stopped working, right? It stopped working. So it's like they're being exposed. And in my opinion, it's like the creator doing it. The creator's exposing them. And like, we're told it's going to happen. We're told Israel's going to get completely exposed to the world. And what I don't understand, right, is for some of the Israel apologists in this situation, it's like, well, like, do we all agree, right? Like, it says that he's going to judge all the nations, but he starts with Israel, and they're so corrupt, they're so evil, they've turned their back to him. They just think about evil continuously. They go after other gods. They do all these things. He punishes them. And so it's like, yeah, like, we're supposed to call them out. We're supposed to call out their evil. That's what we're supposed to do. The whole world gets pissed. That doesn't mean like all the rest of the world is right or something, or is righteous. It doesn't matter. Okay, so here's the point, though. That's a crazy claim that all the nations are going to literally physically turn on Israel. That's the Gog and Magog war, Ezekiel 38. What could get us there? Okay, well, they want the Greater Israel Project. They gaslight everyone saying that it's just a conspiracy theory. And now they're just literally doing it in front of everyone. And so then they drag us into the Iranian conflict. And while we're doing that, they come over there to Lebanon and they start pushing out people. They've already displaced 1 million people. That's insane. That's insane. And so we can look at it a little closer in a second and start to see exactly where they need to go and what all they need to do to push people out of the way. But bruh, I mean, they're doing it. So, okay, the thing about Hosea and what's such a trip is it uses like a marriage, right? And like I said, like this last year, a lot of things I felt like kind of were shown to me and made a lot more sense. And the analogy is actually kind of beautiful, and it's way deeper than people might realize, right? So let's just say that we look at a marriage through the eyes of the creator, which would be like be people, be Israel, would be people like rebelling against him, right? Or say Israel turning their back on him. So it's like he loves them. So it's like you could have a wife, right? And you can love her and you can want what's best for her and you can like truly know what's best for her. You can want to protect her or provide her for her and all that, right? It's just like the creator. He knows what's best for us. He has a path that's going to help us be successful. He knows what's actually going to make us happy and prosperous and all that, right? And he wants to protect us. He wants to provide for us. He wants us to avoid. He wants to help us avoid like what's going to hurt us and harm us and all these things, right? But we're free, so we don't have to choose the creator. He doesn't ever make you choose him, right? Just like someone's free to not accept that from their husband, right? It's exactly the same, and that's why he uses Hosea to show the analogy. And when you go back and look, Chuck Missler's a good person, and that was sent to me. Shout out to John who sent it to me. So anyway, that's like a pretty long playlist he has on it, breaking it down, and it's pretty wild. And a lot of people have kind of overlooked it, that it's like the story from the beginning to end, and it tells you what's going on with Israel. And it's just crazy to see it through the lens of him. And like, without saying too much, right? Like, kind of what is crazy about it is you kind of think of the creator as this, like, he doesn't feel pain, but I feel like I was shown like that's not true. Like he does. Like it actually breaks his heart to see people turn their back on him and not choose him, right? And it's like he sits there and he even can tell you, right? I mean, he wrote it down, he revealed it, like he had it written down, right? Like he's told us in depth, and like here's what's gonna make you happy. Here's what real happiness is, real fulfillment. I love you. I want to protect you. I want to provide for you. I want what's best for you. All that, but what did Israel do? Israel rejected it. They chose not to accept his provision or protection. And they put other gods above him. So it'd be like a wife putting other men above her husband, right? And, like betrayed him and turned their back on him and kept rebelling against him and all this stuff. And that's what I'm giving you like a synopsis of like what Hosea says, right? Because it's all relevant to right now what's happening in the world. If we want to better understand what's going on, we should look at what, is written down that straight up says, this is going to tell you what's going on probably, and so they even do like this thing where, and this is where I want to point this out, right? People are like, you think that's God's chosen people? It's like, I used to I went down those rabbit holes, and the Khazarian thing, that's not real. That's not right. Right. And I went down on these rabbit holes, and then I started talking to Brother Nathaniel, right? So like the Jewish guy I've had on my stream, and he made it so clear. It's so obvious. It's like, I'm like, well, look at what they're doing. Look at their behavior. Look how subversive they are. Look at like all this evil that they're doing. He's like, exactly. That's why. That's how you know it's them. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, look, Jews are like the enemy of mankind right here. And it's like all throughout the scriptures, they have been that way. And this is the thing. It would be like a spoiled child. It would be like a child that's so spoiled, and it's like the favorite child, the golden child, and they can just do no wrong. And like they just know they can do whatever they want, and they're just going to go back. They're going to tell like a sob story or whatever, and then their parents are going to bail them out, basically, right? And that's the way that Israel has treated the creator. And so in Hosea, there's like a part where they go back, and they're like, oh man, this is getting bad. Let's go back, right? And let's just kind of hang out with him, or let's be with him for a couple of days, and he'll bless us. So there's like using him, right? So it's like this like fake, it's like this ostensible repentance, this ostensible confession, and ostensibly turning back to him, right? But it's not legit. And he just ends up punishing them. And what's so wild is reading it, like, and this happened to me like back when I first was shown it and I read it, you feel so bad for Hosea, right? Like you just read it and you're like, how's that fair? It just like, that's awful. And then it highlights like the punishment, right? And you get like all kinds of in-depth explanations, like the women will miscarry and their breast milk will dry up, and this will happen to like the men, and it's like all these specific punishments for Israel. And so I guess the point being here, right, is that Israel's so rebellious and so like ungrateful, so pretentious, so entitled, all of that, that he has to like turn his back on him. What he says he does to Israel, which is what's going on right now. Again, just to kind of, that's what's going on in the Middle East right now as we speak. That's what's going on, and it's culminating right now, right? What he ends up doing to Hosea's wife and to Israel, right? Because again, it's just an analogy, is he has to like turn his back on them completely and show them like all these things that you had that you took for granted or that you attributed to these other things, right? So the analogy is like to her lovers, right? And it's Israel, like the Assyrians and the other gods, right? And he's like, no, I was, all of that comes from me, right? Like you didn't know that your protection that you got was actually from me. You didn't know that your provision that you got was actually from me, right? And so I'm going to take it all away. And you're going to think that you're going, oh, well, you're going to go back to all these other things that you had, right? And I'm going to take it all away. And like, maybe we'll do a stream where we go in depth and I'll prepare the stream to break it down because it's so crazy, right? And yeah, I'll have to just kind of be tactical about everything. But the point is that he basically just throws them out in the wilderness, like they hit rock bottom, right? And eventually they confess. This is after like kind of the fake confession, and eventually they finally come clean. They confess, they repent, all that. That's the very, very end. Okay. And so Chuck Missler does a good job of it, where he starts breaking down like all these things that got overlooked, and there's these additional crucial details about what happens in the Gog and Magog war. So when you read it, it's like insane. Basically, eventually the creator intervenes like like from heaven, like fire from heaven, all this crazy stuff, which would be insane to actually happen, right? Imagine like Israel, that little place, and then like Russia and Iran and all these countries like teaming up on it. Just imagine, let's just say hypothetically, Israel hits the mosque, and now all the Muslims are pissed. And instead of Israel being like, oh my gosh, my bad, and everyone knows it's Israel, they just say, no, it wasn't us. It was actually Iran. And then they just go clean it up and start building the third temple right in front of everyone, like brazenly in front of everyone. And this is because they believe that God is protecting them, that they can go do that and God will protect them, right? Because they're deceived. And it actually says that he will deceive them. He'll basically blind them, right? And so just imagine if that started happening in the next year or two, that mosque gets hit, all the Muslims are freaking out, and Israel doesn't even care at all. They just go start building the third temple on top of it. Do you think people would be pissed? Do you think all the Muslims would be pissed? Do you think that maybe the Muslims that have like beef amongst themselves, they may be able to put their differences aside for a second? Okay. Tag on top of that, they're just like brazenly pushing forward with the Greater Israel Project, displacing millions of people from their home, just expanding their borders, just right in front of the whole world. Like, what are you going to do? Like, just modern day imperialism in 4K, streamed for the world to see, right? Do you think that maybe people will start to get pissed, right? Do you think that if they drag America into yet again another war, right, and then we're told it's just going to be in and out, and then we slowly start to introduce ground troops, and then we start having our soldiers go over there dying, right? And it's just like a meat grinder, because if you put troops on the ground in Iran, you're going to get cooked. You got to be kidding me. Like, I feel like everybody knew that. Everybody knows that. So anyway, I mean, do you think that maybe that Americans will get pissed? Now, let's say that Trump realizes he messed up and he's in over his head, right? And that this is not going to be as easy as he thought, which we all knew, right? And so he wants an off-ramp. He wants to find a way to get out of there. Okay. So he's like, let's negotiate. Let's see if we can work with them. Let's get out of there. And let's just say Israel keeps sabotaging it because no, they want it completely destroyed. They want there no chance of that regime to ever come back. This is their one time they've ever gotten to be able to get them, right? And so they got their big brother coming over there and doing their dirty work for them, right? The big brother comes and like gets the bully, as they would call Iran. And so they need to cash in. They need all their lunch money back, basically. Like, they're not They're not cool with the big brother coming and just, popping the guy one time. It's like, nah, like we got to end this for good right now, basically, is Israel's perspective. And so when America's like, okay, we wiped out all these military capabilities for you, right? So this materialistic capabilities have been wiped out. Like, we're good. Like, I think we helped you out. And I'm like, no. Right? Like, let's negotiate with Iran. And so Trump comes out and says he's negotiating. And there's some negotiators with the IRGC or whatever. And he's like, I don't want to say who they are because they may get killed. And everyone just knows he's talking about Israel killing them because that's just what they do. That's what they've been doing this whole time. And then the Pakistani intel comes and tells Trump, hey, yo, so we discovered that Mossad has plans to kill the negotiators, by the way. So then Trump has to go tell them, don't do that. And then what does Israel do? They throw a temper tantrum, basically like a child, and they just drop some bombs really close to the Pakistani embassy in Iran because they told on them. It's like, do you get the point here? It's like it's the spoiled brat that thinks they can do whatever they want, and they just lie, they manipulate, they're deceptive, they just gaslight you when you catch them. Like, every time that Israel gets caught doing something, they just gaslight. So like when the mosque gets hit, everyone's going to know it's Israel. And when people want to hold them accountable, they're just going to say, that wasn't Israel. That wasn't our missile. We weren't there. Like, you're going crazy. Like that's Iran. Whatever, right? Like, you get the point, right? It's like they're going to do anything and everything that would make any reasonable person eventually be pissed at them and then just want to turn on them, including the United States. And for such a long time, it was unfathomable to me that would happen. And this is how I knew it's like, okay, yo, I gotta jump on. We gotta start breaking this down because it's clear where this is headed. It isn't unfathomable to me anymore that the U.S. would turn their back on Israel. I know I'm just going on this big rant, but it just isn't unfathomable anymore. It looks like that's clearly where we're headed. Right. And so eventually Trump's going to say, yo, you got this. You're on your own. And then Israel's cooked at that point. Let me see if I can play this creepy grabbler over here. And then we're going to talk about this goofy Artemis nonsense. Probably tomorrow night we'll cover a lot of it. Because they're already getting caught faking it. And like, what's funny is back in the day, like 2022, right? I won't say his name, but this guy on Discord, right, was like really believed in all the NASA stuff. And he's like, was so sure that they were for sure going to go to the moon. I think at the time they had claimed they were going in 2024. Of course, they had pushed it back like 4 times before that. And I was like, dude, they're not going to the moon, bro. And he's like, they may push it back like a little bit, like a few months, but they're going to go for sure. And I'm like, no, they're not for sure. They're not going to put people on the moon. And because that's what they were saying, that they were going to like put astronauts on the moon. Right. And so we bet like $20,000 that they would have people on the moon by 2026. Like before 2026 started. They did not. And I did not get my 20,000. But it's all good. Like he came to me. He came to me not too long ago. And it was just kind of a joke, like I would, whatever. I'm like, you're good, man. Isn't that it? He's like, you need some help. You mean to help work for you? I'm like, yeah. All right. So if it'll let me load this here, we'll play this guy. I mean, is it just me or is it insane that Daniel 11:45 says that the Antichrist is going to build his headquarters in between the mountain and the sea right where God's is, and they just leveled it and just gave $28 billion to go rebuild it? And it's this creepy guy right here, Jared Kushner, right? And I mean, like everything the guy does is creepy and weird. I don't think it's going to work. Is Kick working pretty good? It looks all right. Go follow a brother on Kick. 73. Those are rookie numbers. I think it's pinned in the YouTube chat. Can you guys go follow me on Kick? Because a lot of it's going to be a lot of the streams are going to be exclusive on there or finish exclusively there. Maybe I just end this stream on Kick. Bill of divorce. We weren't legally married. What evidence do you have that Jews have an ethnic claim? We take that up with them. They're the ones that make it. But I mean, what evidence can you have, right? I mean, they're just a bunch of genealogical records. Where you been, G? I explained it like crazy year. Really couldn't. I guess I could say it again. Like Kai and I split up, and it's been like a really crazy, rough year. And I had to kind of put the kids first, and it's tricky, delicate situation. So wasn't taking any chances, and always put my daughters first before everything. And so, yeah, that's why I haven't been online. Although crazy timing, right? Where everyone thinks it's because of Antarctica. Nothing to do with that at all. And nothing to do with Antarctica at all. All right, let's see if we can get this Jared Kushner goober to actually play. Well, one thing I'll show you guys is this post I made back in the day. Because again, okay, so you have the Jews come and they give him the Jewish Messiah crown. Can anyone just explain that to me right there? Why are we giving Donald Trump the Jewish Messiah's crown? What's going on? And there are a lot of them saying that he's the non-Jewish Messiah, right? Jewish rabbis are straight up saying that. I'm pissed that the videos are not working right now. I'm trying to figure out a way that I could pull this off here. Maybe if I go... See if I can share. Nah, we'll have everything fixed tomorrow. I'll just work on this all day tomorrow, and we'll get the freaking stream working good. I'll try to play it on here again, but it was like glitching out and didn't really want to play. So we'll just see if it works. So they give him the Jewish crown, and maybe we cover this like way more in depth, and I'll have it all loaded up. We'll just rock OBS, so we won't have any of these issues. But you have like Jewish rabbis straight up saying that he's the non-Jewish Messiah, and whenever he got shot in the ear, it's like whenever that was him becoming the servant. So it's like the slavery or indentured servitude regulations basically that are laid out in the Torah. It talks about like after 7 years, you have to let them go, but they can choose to stay. But if they choose to stay, they have to get a marking in the ear, basically saying that they're voluntarily choosing to stay and basically become part of the family, right? And that like be a servant, like choosing to be a servant. And so that was him being marked as a servant of the Creator. This is what the Jewish rabbi was saying, because he's going to work to usher in like the messianic era for the Jews. Okay, pretty weird. And like, I mean, just look at everything Trump has done, right? Moving the embassy to Jerusalem. They named the heights after him. You have the Trump Heights, right? He's given the silver crown. And then they go give him like a plaque, and it references the Isaiah prophecy, the messianic prophecy, and refers to him as the Prince of Peace, which is the Messiah. So Donald J. Trump, the Prince of Peace. And then those same people would say right now that he's like still the Prince of Peace. Really? Because I'm pretty sure he just like started a war and then refuses to call it a war, like just for legal purposes. And like Trump is out of control, bro. Trump is out of control. People are like, it's like, I'm not gonna lie, it's crazy because now you guys made a bunch of these like crazy leftist lunatics look not so crazy. They ended up being right about stuff, and I mean, because it's like Trump's gonna come in and be a dictator, and he's like, anybody that just makes like an obvious criticism of him, like, oh, you have Trump derangement syndrome. It's like, what? Just so it's like kind of culty, right? But he just like starts a war, no congressional approval, just goes, and then once it's already started, now we're in a vulnerable position. You can't just back out. And so obviously Congress, which is, they're all on the same team, dude. It's like this gigantic script. They're going to do what they're told to do, what they're paid to do. And almost all of them, they got dirt on all these guys. And what's so funny with the whole Epstein thing is everyone keeps talking about Epstein. It's like what they say is that there were 6 million documents, not one less than 6 million. And if you dare question the number of documents, you're out of here. But anyway, and then they only released 3 million. But they're straight up telling you they're not releasing another 3 million. So it's like, why is everyone acting like it's not? They're just letting you know. They're not actually revealing all of it, obviously. And then everyone's running around just talking about that group of documents as though, well, it didn't really, there wasn't this in there. This was, all the crazy stuff is not out. And dude, let's be real. Why are we sitting here relying on the government as though like the number 6 million or everything is really there? I will say this though with that. What's crazy is it is this massive surveillance state. And so there's this compartmentalization, and then like efficiency kind of goes out the window, right? So like the analogy I always use, it would be like a father having like 4 or 5 children with one woman and being super close to all of them, right? And knows everything about them, right? Like their favorite food at the time, their favorite color, their favorite everything, like every little thing about each of his children, right? Is very intimate, active father in the children's lives. And then there's this other guy who has like 20 wives and ends up having like 100 children. He's not even going to like remember their names. And that's like the federal government just gets so big that it can't be efficient. And I'm just making this meta point here where it's like, so if you wanted to use a structure that was that big to surveil everyone, to control everyone, to spy on everyone, you're going to have a lot of moving parts. That's not going to be super efficient. And you're going to just compile all this surveillance. There would be like a compiled stack of information that in theory would be accessible. Like, it's not like every little person that works in the government's in on something. They just do what they're told. And then that works as this huge unit. Because I think people they go too far. They go too far where they think like everything is scripted. Not everything is scripted. It's just a bunch of the organic components operate within a bigger script. That's how it works, right? You just discredit the truth movement when you just go off the deep end. All right, so let's see here. Hopefully this works.
To our wonderful Jewish American community and to Jews celebrating in Israel and around the world this week, I want to wish you a very happy Passover. Over 3,000 years ago, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob delivered the ancient Israelites out of slavery and brought them into the promised land. It was an amazing period of time, just like today we have an amazing period of time. The journey started with faith in God's word, and it ended with a miraculous march through the Red Sea and an astounding exodus out of Egypt. The world has never been the same. This week, we recall this ancient proof of God's faithfulness and are reminded that with true faith, eternal hope, and the power of prayer, nothing can stop the people of God. As Jewish families and loved ones gather together for Seder dinner, we ask that God will continue to watch over the Jewish people and that he may continue to preserve and protect the United States of America for generations to come. Our country is doing better than it has ever done. I am very happy to report. Happy Passover.
Okay, not really sure why I played that, but okay, look, check this out. Not sure how that looked when I went big screen. Hopefully it looks good. Oh, you weren't even seeing it. Okay. So look at this, man. This is crazy. And here it is. Gaza before and after. And again, right, Daniel 11:45, in between the holy mountain, that's Jerusalem, and in between the sea, the Antichrist will build his temples to build up his palace. So it's like the Antichrist headquarters, basically, right? And then you're going to have the temple over here. He's going to kind of run point, right? Okay, so we're told exactly where it's going to be. Right where it's described is Gaza, okay? Let's check out what Gaza now looks like. If in theory the Antichrist wanted to build his palace in his headquarters in a specific location, right? But there's a lot of people living there. There's a lot of buildings, a lot of infrastructure. It's like a operating city. If you guys have seen like Gaza 3 years ago, like it's a pretty city it's a waterfront city, right? Now, I'm not pretending it's like freaking like, like the rich part of San Diego or something. That isn't really the point. So it was nice. It was pretty. Now, if they wanted to build something there, what would they have to do? What would you have to do? If you wanted to, there's like a trailer park and you want to build a nice suburb there, what do you got to do? Right. So this is what Gaza now looks like after the last couple years. It's insane. Crazy. All right. Let's see if I can find here. I'll start by the way, like, so I understand, like, I over the last year, right, there was a few times that I would pop on stream and I would think, like, based on how everything was going and where we were, I'm like, all right, we're good. I'm about to come back online. And so I'd be like, yo, I'm about to come online. I'm about to start posting regularly on X. Make sure you follow me there. Make sure you follow me on Telegram. I'm going to start posting. I'm going to start streaming all the time. I'm going to stream, 4 or 5 times a week. And I never would do it. And that's why I'm obviously don't blame the guy that said you're not going to stream every day, right? Like, yeah, I just kept on making all these like promises, and it wasn't like I was lying. I meant to do them. It was all out of my control, guys, right? Like, you can trust me, not trust me, whatever. Like, if you really knew, right, you would understand. And you have to understand that there are things that are more important than like correcting the record sometimes. I would say that like the role of a man is kind of just to take a lot of arrows kind of in silence and show some stoicism. You know what I mean? And like whether it's fair, it's unfair, whatever, that's just what you have to do. And so that's what I've been doing. But so that was my preface to say I can get why people are going to be skeptical, but I am 100% like I'm back online and we're about to just go all out like I never had. This is kind of just my real quick jump back in the saddle or on the whatever, and just like let you guys know what's up, let you know that I'm back. So we're going to have a totally new format. We're going to be streaming on X a lot. Streaming on Kick a lot. Like, go follow me on Kick for sure. And then, follow me on Telegram. We're going to update. And I'm going to start breaking all this stuff down from my perspective. I think I know what's going on here. And I really don't see people covering it. I really do not see people breaking it down. They're sleepwalking through Revelation, man, and it's pretty crazy. And like, I think that the next stream, I have to decide, right, if we're going to do Artemis, or it doesn't have to be either or, because like the format's going to be a little different as opposed to back in the day. It was like subject specific, it doesn't have to be that. I'm just going to be streaming all the time. So we'll just cover what's going on. We're going to launch the community, like the Witsit community, Witsit Gets a community, or Miswits community, if we stick with that name. And it'll be on X. So anything that people want me to react to or cover, whatever, you just post it in there, and then I'll go through them on stream. We're also going to start popping up the Discord. You can join the Discord for free. We'll set all that up. And then I'll drop my links page. That'll be up in the morning, and everyone can follow in there, whatever. So you guys will just see. There's going to be like lots of content. I'm trying to get this guy to debate about Israel, this Nick guy. Trying to set up a few pretty good debates. I don't want to announce them yet until they happen. But anyway, yeah, you should follow me on X. I mean, last I remember, I kind of blew up on there real quick. I jumped from like 4,000 to like 20,000 like that. And the InfoWars thing popped me up, and then I just stayed there, wouldn't move. Like, it wouldn't move no matter what. My things wouldn't get any traction. So I don't think they really like me all that much, but we'll see how it goes. All right, let's check this out here. It shows everything except for the action. The actual post I'm looking for. So funny. Oh, let's look at this though, in case you guys didn't see it. So I guess he made a post on Truth Social. Here we go. This is insane. All right. President Trump posted on Truth Social, and it says, Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the effing straight, you bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. That is the most insane Truth Social post I've ever seen. That is the most insane thing I've ever seen a president say. Are we in freaking clown world or what, bro? Like, is this... What are we watching unfold right here? Since when does a president just jump on the internet and be like, yo, open the effing straight? Like, what in the world, bro? Let me grab this. So that's pretty crazy. So basically it says, he says like they're going to start attacking their power plants and stuff like that. And so you got like 80 million people without power. I mean, bro, I think Myron posted about it. Let's see. Here you go. Can you guys see that? I feel like you guys can't even really read that. There we go. All right. Tomorrow, deadline expires. Iran rejected every deal, denied all talks, locked, loaded, standing tall. Trump already extended twice. No third extension coming. So he gave him a deadline. All right. U.S. So say April 7th through the 8th. U.S. strikes Iran's power grid. 80 million people go dark. And okay, I do want to point this out while we're talking about this. Back in the day, right, we were talking about COVID and all this, and I'm like, I don't think they can really pull off a COVID 2.0. I don't think they can. But I made it very clear that in my estimate or assessment, right, there is no way that they are going to let that power grab go, right? Like just side note, got a little rant here, right? Like, you guys realized how much power they got. That was the most like overtly authoritarian takeover ever, and it happened like that, right? And they told us 2 weeks. And with the cover story, it's just like, oh, we got to react right now. 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, 2 decades, right? Whatever, you get it. Like, it was just crazy. And then telling us we can't leave our house. We have lockdowns now, so we have orders. Now we also have to wear masks and all this stuff, right? You guys get it. I mean, everyone is traumatized from that. Well, they've kind of gotten everyone to forget about it now. No big deal. It was insane. I mean, that traumatized a generation of children that will never be the same, right? Like, That traumatized the adults. It was crazy. And they just had us in lockdowns. Okay. So they started, after that, they used what happened there as a justification to start to build all these different infrastructures, right? Like this like electrical monitoring of everything, right? This totalitarian surveillance system, basically. And I was like, they're not going to let go of the lockdowns. Like that's a card that they play now, right? That's not going away. But how would they do it? They can't just do that again. People are not going to go along with that. Well, let's just say that you have this, and like I'm not going to say I'm making this prediction as definitively, but this is my prediction of what to watch out for the most right now, right? You have this manufactured energy crisis under the disguise of this war. Okay, so you have the oil not going through the strait, right? And everyone knows, of course, the prices start going up. You got China super dependent on it. You got Australia super dependent on it. Australia really can't make it past like midway through this month, from my understanding, without tons of people losing power. Okay. Every time I talk about it, I get triggered. Like I gotta get over to NC for my girls. But anyway, so you have like all these people maybe go dark in Australia, right? It's just a manufactured energy crisis. It's just like all the oil. It's this big deal. Now, if they start blowing up the actual plants, I mean, that took like a decade to rebuild. So there's some type of retaliation here. Okay. You start hitting the energy. That's a big deal. Back in the day, I predicted it climate lockdowns. And I was like, dude, watch out for the climate lockdowns. And then maybe they'll manipulate the weather, right? And they'll use like the weather weapons, right? How they modify and control like, the weather. And they'd say this is because of climate change. And so we have to act right now. It's an emergency, right? And everyone needs to now stay in their home for a certain amount of hours a day. You can only come out a certain amount of time a day or a certain amount of time a week. You can only drive so many miles. And they're going to just like really clamp down on transportation, right? And because it's under the disguise of the climate, it's an emergency. We have to all come together, put our differences aside. Because whatever it is, it has to be, we have to all put our differences aside. That's what the COVID ordeal was. So if we're talking about now actually hitting the plants and all those people losing power, like hitting the power grid and all those people losing power, and then we have the oil situation, and then they start retaliating to these Gulf states with all the oil, and then we start blowing up stuff with oil there, and now that the strait's still not opened up, it's all compiling to a major energy crisis across the board, where now countries start rolling out, they wouldn't say it climate lockdown because it would be like a manufactured energy crisis, but like an energy lockdown. And there'll be some type of name for it. And that's something that they would just make the new norm. Similar to how like Californians are just like desensitized, how they can barely use water, and like they'll just have like rolling brownouts or whatever, right? Like I'm just throwing that out there in the ether, like while I was thinking about it. Definitely be on the lookout for that right now, okay? Because it just seems like that's where everything is possibly going, and I would say just adequately prepare for that, because obviously if the power goes down, that's a big deal. If the power goes out, that's a big deal, right? And so I kind of went out of my way to be able to prepare us for that. But you need to be able to run a certain amount of things. You need to be able to possibly keep things cold depending on the situation. You need to figure out the best way to handle not having power. I'm just saying, like, that should be on your bucket list to figure out. Okay. Back to what we were talking about. All right. Targets expanded power plants, oil wells, Carg Island desalination plant. Obviously, for those who don't know, they drink like the ocean water, so they have to clean. The vast majority of their water comes from the ocean. Iran retaliates on Saudi Aramco. Refineries, infrastructure, oil gaps past 160. That would be crazy. By the way, like, was it so obvious? I was thinking, like, I don't know, can you make money on that? But I'm like, isn't it just so obvious a little while back that people would just, you can make money on the fact the price of oil is going to shoot up, right? I don't know. But anyway, you guys get it. Iran targets one of the largest oil terminals, one hit, 6.5 million people offline. That's crazy. If any of this kind of stuff happens, bro, I don't know. I'm not making these predictions. But, bro, look at this stuff that can happen, bro. I mean, nuclear breakout, 80 million people, no power, no water, no food chain, no bridges. Pretty crazy, too, especially whenever they were saying, like, they can't have the nuclear power. I mean, I'm just saying that it's like recording audio messages this whole time. So I don't know what you guys think about that, but I think that's pretty crazy. Okay, now let me show you guys what I wanted to show you a second ago. So I made a post a while back, and I'm like, yo, watch out for this Kushner guy. And then I was like, what's going on with Trump? Do the Jews think that Trump is the Messiah? Like, oh, you're crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy. Okay, here we go. I'll make a post tomorrow, like explaining a lot of my stuff that I think. But do the Jews believe that Trump is their Messiah? Okay, May 14, 2018, 70 years after Israel is recognized as a nation, Trump moves the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. Trump has been put on a temple coin commemorating the 70th anniversary of Israel as a nation. Okay. In 2018, the head rabbi of Ukraine presents Donald Trump his discovery that his name in Jewish gematria equals 424, the same as their prophesied Messiah. Okay. That's a pretty big deal, I would think. Yeah. Okay. In July 2023, 150 rabbis on behalf of the Israel Heritage Foundation gifted Trump a crown of Jerusalem, said to be the crown that must be placed on the head of their Messiah. We'll cover that a little bit more in depth in a second. I'll show you guys my post on that. Okay, February 2024. Guys, I mean, I just want to kind of keep reiterating this, right? This is some of the most powerful people in the world, right? Like disproportionately represented in basically every major infrastructure in the world, right? Sure, there are a lot of secular Jews, whatever. Like the nepotism is off the charts, right? And I mean, even if it's not like, it doesn't have to be malevolent, right? I mean, dude, like a lot of Jews are like traumatized throughout their whole childhood being told that like the whole world wants to kill them, and so they just stick together. But the point is that these are very, very powerful people. Okay. And Israel is very, very influential. The people associated with you should know, I'm sure you guys know this. I'm preaching to the choir, right? I mean, we've been talking about it for freaking years on this channel. Very powerful. So it is very significant when they start doing these types of things, whether you think it's all fake and gay, whether you think it is real, or you think they're wrong, whatever you think, right? Like they're powerful. They believe this. What they're doing is important. It affects everything else that happens, right? In very elementary terms here. Okay, so the Israel Heritage Foundation gifted Trump a crown of Jerusalem, said to be the crown that must be placed on the head of their Messiah. February 2024, they gifted Trump a menorah for his role in the Abraham Accords. Engraved on a plate at the base of the menorah, it states the following. This menorah, which represents the eternal light of the world, is presented to President Donald J. Trump in honor and celebration of doing what no other man has ever done, and that is to make peace between Israel, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Morocco, and the Sudan in the extraordinary Abraham Accords. Scripture says in Numbers 25:12, therefore say, behold, I give him the covenant of peace. Further in Isaiah 9:1, for a child has been born to us, a son has been given to us, and the authority will rest on his shoulders. He who is a wondrous advisor, mighty God, eternal Father, shall give him the name Prince of Peace. The Israel Heritage Foundation, with profound gratitude, presents this Covenant of Peace Award to the Prince of Peace, President Donald J. Trump. They are calling Donald Trump their Messiah, or at the very least, the one who ushers in their Messiah. And there you go. You got straight up, right? This is Cyrus. So he's on the crown beside Cyrus, which is the king back in the day that ordered the building of the temple. And they're putting him on there, on the temple coin, as though Trump is going to order the building of the third temple. How would he pull that off? I don't know. Why is that dude in his most recent post saying like praise Allah? I guess he's like mocking them, or I don't really know. Pretty crazy. Because you know what it ends up saying is like people will be like, who can wage war against him and all this. It's like Trump is a very crazy character, right? And shout out to Sean from Kingdom of Context, right? When you break it down, it's like we know who the Antichrist is, right? It's straight up the king that was and is to come again, appeared to suffer a mortal head wound. It's Nimrod, right? Gilgamesh, Osiris, Nimrod, the man of many names. He comes back. And so it's like, there's like the bottomless pit like opens up, he comes out. So it's like, how does this all work? I'm not sure, right? Like Trump may just be paving the way, right? Like I think it's a little bit crazier than Trump, but if I were to try to still in this idea of Trump, something happens to him. Like, I don't know, something would have to happen to him. And so then we can go into all these speculations, right? Let's say that Trump gets like assassinated on camera, gets shot in the head. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's super traumatizing, JFK 2.0, right? And then he's gone. Everyone's like, wow, that's wild. But somehow Elon Musk comes in, right, and saves the day, and they're able to hook him up and give him like like some type of neural implant, right, a neural chip or whatever it's called, and suddenly he can come back. He's the first person that's like they had to like bring back to life this way or something crazy. I mean, I know this sounds crazy, but I don't know, right? But somehow he's given access to like the AI infrastructure that he helped build as effectively a surveillance system, right? If you were a man and then you were embodied by the power of AI worldwide, and you had access to all of the surveillance systems, right? So the Skynet, everything built underneath us, everything in everyone's pockets, every square inch of the surveillance, and you could use AI to basically process all of it in a way, you could act like you were a little G God. You'd be able to like see whoever, wherever, know what everyone's doing, right? Like that would be crazy, bro. Like that would be crazy. So I don't feel comfortable with all that. I think the AI has something to do with the Antichrist, right? Like I'm not saying don't use it or whatever. I'm just saying like I think ultimately it's used for that. I think it's used like by the Antichrist for the Antichrist, is directly tied to the Antichrist, right? It says like the image, it brings life to the image. And I'll just quickly say this because I think this is pretty crazy. All throughout the scriptures, you have this like foreshadowing effect that happens. And like, if anyone knows, right, for those that love to mock the scriptures and all that, I mean, it is the most incredible like compilation of works known to man. It's not even close. There's not even a close second, right? Like the number of authors over the span of time and the geographical distribution is like wild. And then just the layers and layers and layers of connections is insane, right? And so there's also this like beautiful reoccurring pattern of foreshadowing. So to give a couple simple examples, right? You have like Jonah's told to go into Nineveh and to warn them. He's like, they're not going to listen to me, bro. That's like being told to go into Las Vegas and tell them like to stop sinning, right? And it's like, you're telling me to go into Sin City and tell them not to sin. Like, that's ridiculous. I'm not doing that. They're going to laugh at me, mock at me, attack me. They don't care what I have to say. I'm not doing that. And he rebels, and what happens? He gets swallowed up, right? And he's there for 3 days. He comes out, and then he actually goes into does it, and they do repent. Well, you have like multiple situations like that with the 3 days. But then you have the crucifixion and the resurrection, right? And so like there's foreshadowing. So then you have Joshua, which if you look at like the English transliteration of the Messiah, you have Yahshua, right? Joshua is an accurate like English transliteration. Joshua, again, so basically like this, the same name as the Messiah. He is told to before, like while he's headed to the promised land, before getting to the promised land, he's told to go defeat his enemy, and it's the city called AI. Literally, the city's literally called AI, right? So Joshua, say the Messiah, before you get to the promised land, the millennial kingdom, the new reign, right? Before the Messiah gets to the new kingdom, the ultimate promised land, right? The final promised land, he has to defeat his enemy, AI. I don't know, pretty crazy, but just saying that it's pretty crazy, right? I mean, like there's literally a freaking city in the scriptures called AI. And so like the foreshadowing would, if that were the case, right? It would put AI like tied and joined at the hip with the Antichrist. So I'm just saying, I think that's pretty wild. Okay, let's see if I can find another post here that I had made. Look, visibility limited. It's sick, bro. You guys are just something else. There was another. There's another post I have. Oh, you guys couldn't see that. They like limit my posts anytime I say like truth. Oh, free speech. Oh yeah, that's true. Right here, I point this out. I said technocracy disguises a new golden age via a Trump-Elon collab was my prediction in 2019. Doesn't seem so far-fetched. No. Yeah. Yeah. You guys remember that? This guy just panicked. Couldn't even let me talk. So, whatever. I don't see it. Oh, this is what I'll do. Is maybe I can just look it up. Come on. All right. Oh,
Just 4 years ago, in 2020, I published some.
Okay, check this out.
Mashiach's, in a concert, you have an opening performer who performs before the one who is escorting Mashiach into the world. The Eibishter has chosen that Esav should be the one that should do that. I've discussed this many times, and this is kind of coming from many other people that are very known on the internet.
Very known on the internet, he says. All right, this guy sucks. There's it's really this other guy. So let's just
rabbis who speak about Mashiach. There's 2 or 3 that have been speaking about Mashiach for the last 15 years. Everybody's waking up now. I had the schus to be one of those 2 or 3 that have been speaking about Mashiach for the last quite a long time. And from the other ones, everybody comes to the same conclusion that he is clearly a Gilgal. He was ascending to be
bro.
He was ascending to be Eved forever and ever. And if anything is telling, where did it happen? It happened on Shabbos. And where did it happen?
Okay, they're talking about that he's basically like the Messiah. There's another one.
Predicted that President Donald Trump would serve a second term in the White House. I'm not going to repeat all the details that went into this prediction. If you're interested, you can check out my videos from before and after the election of 2020. But here it is in a nutshell. In Genesis chapter 25 and 27, the Torah records prophecies to Rebekah and to Isaac, stating that ultimately at the end of days, Esav will serve his younger brother, Jacob. Esav evolved into the mighty Roman Empire, which metamorphosed into the various Christian nations. All
right, this guy's you're kidding me. He basically says that Trump is like the Messiah. So they talk about how he has Jewish gematria that equals 424, like Hebrew gematria, and that's what the Messiah gematria is. I am going to wrap this up here in a little bit. So I'll go ahead and say I'll go through all super chats if there are any super chats here in a second. Towards the end, you can go to the link in the description if you want to send like kofi.com/witsit. Also, you can sign up like monthly there or Patreon, and we're going to start doing like exclusive streams and stuff like that. And maybe I can tell you guys a little bit more about what's going on there. Cool. I think that's about it. Yeah, kofi.com. We'll get everything set up, and we'll be really rolling tomorrow. All right. Let's see here. Check it.
Interest, Steve and I call experience and trusted relationships.
In 1 month, the US dropped more than 5,000 bombs on Iran and billed the American taxpayer over $30 billion to do it. And one name keeps coming up as responsible: Jared Kushner. But to understand how, you need to know about two key relationships. The first goes back to when Kushner was a teenager. Buried in a 2017 New York Times article is a detail that's stayed under the radar. When Benjamin Netanyahu used to stay in the United States, he would stay at the Kushner family home in New Jersey. Most diplomats meet foreign leaders at negotiating tables. Jared Kushner met Benjamin Netanyahu when Netanyahu was sleeping in his bed, forcing Jared to sleep in the basement.
Gotta sleep for work. Keep your head up. Man, much love, brother. Thank you. Flatman, be official.
The second relationship is with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, MBS. And to understand that one, you need to know what happened the moment Kushner left Trump's first White House. He started a private equity firm called Affinity Partners to capitalize on his Middle East connections, despite having no experience in asset management whatsoever. So he went to the Saudi State Public Investment Fund and asked for money. And so the Saudi government Kushner had spent 4 years protecting wired him $2 billion. Kushner took that $2 billion in Saudi money to become the largest shareholder in Phoenix Holdings, Israel's biggest insurance company. Israel and Saudi Arabia used to be historic rivals, and yet Kushner, leveraging those Netanyahu and MBS relationships, said he wanted to open a, quote, investment corridor between Saudi Arabia and Israel. He is the corridor. Saudi money flowing through Kushner into the Israeli economy is the financial infrastructure.
Okay, this dude just straight up shows you the Greater Israel Project
of a new Middle East, recentered around Gulf Israeli ties. And every dollar that flows through it builds a region that doesn't want Iran at the table. Netanyahu actually said it out loud.
Saudi Arabia will have a lot to gain. I think all these countries around Iran are threatened by Iran. And I think peace between Israel and Saudi Arabia would be really possible and probably very close once this thing happens.
And then came the Iran negotiations this past February. Diplomats from Britain and Oman said a deal was close and that war could be avoided. But Kushner told Trump there was no chance of a deal and that Iran was about to attack the United States. The Pentagon briefed congressional staff the exact opposite, that Iran had no plans to strike the US. The Guardian reported that a diplomat with direct knowledge of the talks said Kushner was regarded as an Israeli asset, trying to drag the US into war. An Israeli asset who had Netanyahu sleeping in his childhood bedroom. Kushner's ideology was there long before the money was. What the money did was align financial interests perfectly with ideology.
I shouldn't have to tell you, you just got to take the normie spin out of everything, right? I mean, all right, bro. Give your brother a break here. All right.
Israel according to the Israelis. This is the greater Israel according to the Israelis. It is include 100% of Palestine, 100% of Jordan, 100% of Lebanon, 100% of Kuwait, 75% of Syria, 45% of Iraq, 40% of Saudi Arabia, 35% of Egypt. This is going to, and part of Turkey too.
You want to know what's going to happen? Like, this is why I know I have to keep making content, come back. It's like, why is no one saying what's obviously going to happen? Okay, don't worry. I got you. Israel is going to continue to expand all throughout the Middle East. It's the Greater Israel Project, okay? They're going to do it right in front of everyone, just like they did an ethnic cleansing right in front of everyone. It's like they just displaced 1 million people in Lebanon right in front of everyone, just like Netanyahu is going to go and tell us, continue, we need to go to Iran and then drag us into a war in front of everyone. And they're just going to fall back and say, we're not dealing with that right in front of everyone. Wow, because they're like, okay, America's basically got these people off our back. And now, like, think about the arrogance of these people, bro. Okay? Like, for decades, telling us every story they can think of, they've been telling us that Iran's about to have nuclear bombs within a couple weeks for freaking years, okay? And now they get us to go over there. They get us to bomb them last year. Then they get us to go over there. And then immediately, right, they can't even wait for that to conclude. They start going over here to Lebanon and displacing 1 million people. Now, check this out. This is a...
This is the great...
And like, bro, we are watching Revelation unfold. Like, I mean, like, you know, let's just say get your affairs in order. I know, like, yeah. So yeah, my situation is crazy, huh? Trust me, I know. Trust me. Yeah, man. Roughest year of my life by far. All right, check this out. This is a 2024. Israel is not going to agree on a ceasefire. Why? USA continues Israel's narrative of self-defense. Israel's plan for greater Israel. The war is going to expand in Lebanon, Jordan, Syria, and almost all of the Middle East. All right, check this. This land is ours. The entire land, including Gaza, including Lebanon, all of the promised land. What we are now doing in Gaza, we know how to do in Beirut. Is it possible to hit Hezbollah hard? Is it possible to take apart Lebanon? Stop releasing Abu Ali videos and let's start reacting, attacking war now. If Hezbollah chooses to start a global war, then it will turn Beirut and South Lebanon, not far from here, into Gaza. And Khan Yunis with its own hands. Bruh. Like, are we going to act like we don't know what's going on? Israel thinks that that's their land. They're going to go back and take it. That's what they're going to do. The whole world's going to get pissed. The whole world's going to get pissed. Let's see if we can get, like, dude, isn't that so crazy that what they're doing in Lebanon? To me, that's wild. Like, here, we just watched what they did in Gaza. And these people are just bloodthirsty, right? Am I tripping? Like, how can you just, I mean, bro, this is basically, they view it like this is their time and they're going to take advantage of it. And again, what do you think is going to happen after Gaza and then they see them the world starts seeing them do it to all these other people? I mean, are they going to maybe turn on everybody? I mean, is everyone going to turn on them? You know, here Netanyahu just straight up says he's looking into turning it into an international superpower. Okay, check this out. This is all the way back in the day. And look what Trump says about Israel. It's all a script.
Israel is a tiny little spot compared to these giant land masses. It's really a tiny spot. I actually said, is there any way of getting more? It's so tiny. It just doesn't.
Is there any way of getting more? Like, are you kidding me? So in case you don't know, right?
And we're just going to bash anybody that doesn't like it. What is Greater Israel? Greater Israel means either that Israel controls not only its geographic territory, but that it essentially controls or annexes the West Bank, the Golan Heights, which they've just enlarged, Gaza, and East Jerusalem. So everything that was captured in 1967, Netanyahu explicitly said, we're never giving that back. There are religious zealots, I would use even stronger terms, who use the book of Joshua, which is 2,700 years ago, that said, well, God gave us everything from the river in Egypt, meaning the Nile, to the Euphrates. And there are zealots in Israel, and they're in the government, who believe, yes, this is God's ordinance. We're going to take whatever we want.
Okay, so they want Greater Israel, right? And I mean, you have to kind of stick your head in the sand not to know it. I mean, they're pretty like overt about it. They're pretty overt about it. So check this. I'll tell you a couple things that happened to me, right? So back in July, some stuff came to light, and I had like a crazy like really like 3-4 days and then into a week. And it was crazy. It was like, I've had these kind of moments in my life where they kind of come in waves, and like the creator will just show me so many things. And like, okay, I'm aware that people can say I'm crazy or whatever. Like this is on everything I love. This is what happens to me. So, it's like, okay, well, I say a prayer, ask for a wife. I open a 2,000-page book, and the first sentence I read is the Lord says, take a wife. You can think that that's just a coincidence. You can try to explain that away. Okay. Feel free to do the statistical analysis on that. Let me know exactly how that happened. Okay. Sounds good, bro. If you don't at least invoke some type of metaphysical component as like the consciousness, the mind is powerful, and somehow like I knew where that was, even though I didn't even like remember Hosea as a book or so. Like, I don't even know what mental gymnastics you're going to do. Right. And then a breeze comes through for 2 seconds. My whole body tingles, like whatever. Cool story, bro. I have these like waves of things, right? One of the things that'll happen is I'll get like visuals in my head and I'll see something. And it'll come at the most random time. I have no control over it. Boom, I just see something in my head, okay? And it's like I know something's happening. And it turns out that they're like always right. So like, boom, visual in my head. I see something going on. Not great, right? What do you know? It turns out to be right. Later on that night, another visual, much more extensive. I actually can feel stuff. It's crazy, right? Crazy night. Next day, get confirmation, start be showing a lot. I'm just showing a lot of stuff. It's just crazy. Okay. That week becomes crazy to me. I'm bringing this up because check this out. Someone calls me, like a believer calls me. I'm talking to him. He says, so I feel like the Father is telling me to tell you this. So I guess he wants you to know this. Have you ever considered that he wants you to understand what he experiences with Israel? And I'm like, oh, like, why me though? Okay. Then I get sent this playlist about Hosea, right? From this, from another believer, and he's like, yo, this is the best I've ever heard. Hosea broke down. You should check it out, etc. Never heard of the guy. Chuck Missler, never heard of him. Fast forward a little bit. I'm like, I fall asleep, and then like my phone's just playing these reels, right? And I wake up in the middle of them, and it says, then they confess everything. I like wake up. I'm like, what is that? So I pull it back to see the beginning of the video, and it's this preacher that I had previously never heard of, right? So my phone just playing random videos. I fell asleep. This preacher I'd never heard of, Chuck Missler, he's talking about Hosea. Bruh. Really, bro? And no, I wasn't. This was like Instagram. I didn't like use Instagram. No, I wasn't on Instagram looking up stuff about Hosea. Nothing like that. You could say like, oh, my microphone or something. Sure. Okay. So, I get this playlist. I don't even have time to look at it yet. Never heard of the preacher. Don't know. I haven't looked anything up. Not on my phone. Nothing, right? I just received this text. It's a playlist. Okay. I fall asleep, wake up. I look, it's like this guy, and he's talking about Hosea. And so I guess he's basically like, look, so many people, so many theologians for so many years, they overlooked it. It's right here, though, very clearly. Cross-references, says clearly Hosea is describing to us what's happening, gives us details about the end time war, the Gog and Magog war, that is explained in Ezekiel 38. So this guy, believer tells me, like, yo, you consider he wants you to know what he experiences with Israel. I get sent a playlist from another believer. It's like a preacher I'd never heard of breaking down Israel. Then a couple days later, randomly wake up. I just wake up. I'm asleep. I just wake up. I hear a video playing, and I'm like, what? And I listen to it from the beginning, and it's that preacher talking about, it's just a short, right? Talking about Hosea and Ezekiel 38. Bro, that's literally, remember, that's what started everything. Like, oh, we're in the end. You got to do something. We're in. I want you to do something. And then I pray undeniable sign. I have all these crazy synchronicities. And then I open up the scriptures that night. I mean, first time I opened a Bible in 3 years at that point, bro. Right? I just have it because I got it for Christmas. Got dust on it. NIV. Never touched it. Open it up. Boom, bro. Ezekiel 38. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. I've never heard of it. I start looking into it. People say Russia is the king from the north and all this, right? And I'm like, oh, it's like the end time war. That's pretty crazy. So that was just a few of the things that happened that week. And I'm telling you to tell you, like, I feel like I was nudged, like, yo, like, pay attention, stuff's starting to pop off. And then what do you know, right? Like we come over to now and we see this all happening, and it's very obvious where it's leading. Okay. Israel's making their move. Israel's making their move. So any analysis that you're hearing, don't get lost in the sauce. Don't get lost in the sauce of like all of the like maybe more petty moves, or like, oh, is America going to get an off ramp? Oh, what's going to happen? Oh, it's going to be over. Or nah, dude, this is Israel's move. Israel's objective has nothing to do with just Iran. Iran is just the person that's in their way, right? So if Israel, say Israel wanted the Greater Israel Project, and let's make it clear, make sure everyone understands exactly what that is.
These lands, one half of modern-day Egypt, all of Israel. God promised the Jewish people these lands, one half of modern-day Egypt, all of Israel, Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, Kuwait, and 3/4 of Saudi Arabia. This is going to become a reality in the millennial reign when Jesus Christ rules the world from Jerusalem with a rod of iron. This is Israel right now, and this is what will happen whenever the Messiah comes back.
And he says, like, sooner or later this happened. So basically, we are being told that we are going to be kicked out of our land soon because God wants that.
John Hagee's one of the biggest figures. He's invited to White House events. He's invited to U.S. embassy openings. Imagine a college kid on campus is saying, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. We're told that's genocide. This guy is proposing wiping out multiple countries in the Middle East. He's a favorite of the Republican Party.
Yes.
And by the way, this is the most important point. He's an anti-Semite.
They are pro.
Okay, let me show you a map. Okay, so this is like pretty crazy, right? Israel's tiny, bruh. Okay, so this is what they want. Okay, so you see Israel here. Get off the screen. Okay. This is as big as I can get it. Okay, you see Israel here, right? Tiny, tiny, tiny. This is what they want. That seems inconceivable, right? In modern day, this sounds like some Alexander the Great imperialism back in the day or something, right? Not that many people, some little villages. I mean, we're talking huge portions of Iraq, Syria, Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon. No way, right? Saudi Arabia. Huge portion of Saudi Arabia. Okay. So what would they need to do? Well, I don't know. Maybe they need to just start displacing all the people that are there if they want to take it over. Right? Did they say, okay, now that that's over and Hamas is done, we're going to get Gaza to come back and we're going to move the Gazans back into their home and we're going to help rebuild it? No. They're going to be gone, and now they're going to rebuild it. And it's exactly where the Antichrist is going to build his headquarters. So $28 billion. I mean, you tell me, right? Now you go to Lebanon and start displacing all these people. Okay, so if Israel starts pushing all of these people out, what would normally have happened, people are going to have a problem with it. Like Iran, who is always going at Israel, right? And they're funding these different proxy groups to go at them. They would stop them, right? Got to take care of Iran then if we're about to do this. Who can we enlist to take care of Iran? The U.S. Okay. Well, no, the U.S. is just going to be in and out, right? Oh, are we? Right? Like if I was streaming at the time, I would have told you guys, I guarantee you that we're putting troops on the ground. Like that's what's happening. And so I'll tell you right now, okay? We're putting troops on the ground. Like it's going to escalate, right? Like that's my opinion. Could I be wrong? Sure. Like, I mean, you know, I can't predict the future. I'm saying that's what I think, right? I think like, yes, the Iran situation is not about to be over by any stretch of the imagination. And the more that we escalate, the worse it's going to get. And I hate to say it, but problems may then land here domestically. And like, can you really blame them at some point? I mean, I think you can, right? Okay, now check this out. And we're going to wrap this up in a sec.
Just a volunteer like other businessmen who volunteer to help the government when asked. The level of engagement has definitely been a lot more than I anticipated.
Okay. And again, just like, okay, who is this guy, right? This is the son-in-law of Donald Trump, who apparently the Jews are saying has the same Hebrew gematria of their Messiah, who moved the embassy to Jerusalem, who had the heights named after him, who was printed on the temple coin beside King Cyrus. They had his head beside King Cyrus, who was the king that appointed the building of the temple, right, on the temple coin. Okay. Now, for the first time ever, or the first time since like the 60s, they have everyone away from the Al-Aqsa Mosque during Ramadan all the way throughout it, even to like the final days. Okay. We have bombs land a couple hundred meters away from that. We have the Jews doing a mock sacrifice or like basically a practice ritual with a red heifer, saying that they have their red heifer that doesn't have a blemish, that they need a sacrifice for the Messiah. We have all like these top rabbis saying the Messiah is here, he's just yet to reveal himself, talking about how they're about ready to build the third temple. There's talking about how they're going to build the third temple soon. How are you going to do that? Like when one of the most important religious buildings and icons in the world is there. How are you going to do that? Well, it's got to get destroyed, right? Okay, so now you have all these rumblings going on in the Middle East. You're going to have the fog of war, perfect cover to hit the mosque. What happens? All the Muslims get pissed. They believe that Muhammad ascended there. Okay, so you got Trump doing everything that Israel's wanted to do for years and years and years, from his first term to this term. Okay, does Trump actually leave office if we're in war? No. Elections get suspended. Maybe even the midterms will get suspended if the war escalates enough, right? So you got Trump just kind of staying there. Is he potentially the last president? I don't know. You might ask yourself, well, how would that be written in the late 1800s? Right? I don't think that it's all as much like the script was written in the late 1800s as much as like this is a spiritual war. Like the people behind, like the inspirations behind these novels, behind these writings, they're spiritual in nature, right? And this is why it's such a dangerous game to play, to run around and be like, I'm going to turn my back on the creator. I'm going to just do this for a few years. I'm going to get it out of my system. It's no big deal. It's not that serious. You're playing games and you don't realize that you're this little bitty piece inside this gigantic spiritual war. And, the energy on that side, right? They want to devour you. They want to destroy you, right? They know your ancestors. They know everything that's been going on. They know like, oh, you're really tempted to do this and you're going to think that this feels good or this is like, gonna satisfy you or whatever, right? And they're gonna get these little tricks. They know that these little things that people just like can't give up, these like temptations are so laughably petty in the grand scheme of things. They like it's evil, but it's literally evil, right? Where they're like, oh, I'm gonna get you to destroy yourself and destroy everything because you don't get that we don't care about you. We don't care about you. We don't care about destroying you. We don't care about hurting you, ruining your life, taking everything away from you. We don't care about any of that. We don't care about you being lost and confused and in pain. None of that. Because we're just trying to get back at him. Right? And so, I won't go through that whole rabbit hole, right? But you have the fallen ones. They rebelled and then they wanted to come back. Enoch tells you that they tried to come back and he said, no, you can't. You're like, okay, well, at least like forgive our children, right? Because it's not their fault. He said, no. Not only will I not forgive your children, right? Because you took the daughters of men and you know that I gave the ability to make children to be fruitful and multiply to men so that they long for nothing that was not for you. You did not need that. You took that, you tainted that, you corrupted that, right? You created an abomination. Your children shouldn't even exist, right? They're literally like angel and man. They're not even, this is why their spirits then roam around because there wasn't a specific designated place for their spirits to go upon death because they're abominations. They weren't supposed to be created. So there's no place for them to go. There's no place for them to reside. So they aimlessly roam around. And this is what people call demons. They're disembodied spirits of the Nephilim, which are the offspring. You may think that's crazy, but you should look into stuff like, yeah, the realm we live in is crazy. History is crazy. There were actually giants. Nimrod was actually real. Gilgamesh was actually a real thing. You got Osiris, Isis, because just a man of many names. You have that whole story being dismembered into 13. Then you have like Washington, D.C., right? What do you have there? You have the Washington Monument, obelisk, right? What does that represent? Well, you have the original 13 colonies. American in its inception is about that, right? You have America going over to Iraq because they're trying to get the tomb of Gilgamesh. They're obsessed with his remains. What are they doing? Are they trying to bring it back to life? Are they trying to, take his quote unquote DNA, right? I mean, it's specific structured information. Is the DNA model itself like literally physically true? No, it's a model, right? I mean, that would be a reification fallacy, but there is like obviously individualized, specific, structured information within each of us. You can just see that. I mean, like that's anyway. I'm going like kind of all over the place, but you get the bigger point, right? Like it's a gigantic spiritual war, and I wanted to throw that little tidbit out there for anyone that needs to hear it. Like, yo, zoom out and where we're at in the world right now. I mean, if there was ever a time not to be playing games with the creator, it's right now, right? Like, look at what's going on, and we're reaching the culmination of a millennia-long battle, right? Like, if this has been going on for thousands of years, and there are entities that bucked the system, and then they couldn't come back, so like, well, I'm taking humanity down with me, right? If the only way they can get back at the creator is like, okay, you see that creation you love so much, I'm gonna take them, I'm gonna deceive them. Right? I'm going to give them false gods. I'm going to give them all these different things that on the surface they think that they want, right? But it's going to destroy them. It's going to make them turn away from you. And the creator made us free. So he sits there and watches it, right? That's all you are in the grand scheme of things to these entities, right? And if you're still in this like world where those don't exist, that's not real, like this materialistic, skeptical, like nihilistic, reductionist, atheistic or agnostic position, like you're gone, right? For starters, it's not even intellectually defensible, and I will happily intellectually eviscerate anyone that thinks they can actually substantiate any type of logical position incorporated with the materialism or atheism, right? Happily. It's like actually like dumb. Right. So it's like literally not even intellectually defensible. And then when you get into physics, it's like it can't even properly identify, much less explain even like a fraction of the phenomena that we have. Side note, and hit me up. You got anyone that you think is really good that wants to debate me and thinks that they can, debate materialism or, atheism, creationism, happily do that. Okay. So there's a metaphysical realm, right? I was like, oh, there's an ether, right? There's something beyond the material. Okay. There are entities. We have like overwhelming evidence of that. Okay. Now we're living in this physical material world. We also have a connection to the metaphysical, right? Very obvious. We have dream, intuition, and all these things. Okay. We're being used as like little pawns, right? Or I'm saying people are used as little pawns by these entities for this much bigger spiritual war. Okay. That was very meta, but like you have to recalibrate. You have to recalibrate. Like, get your affairs in order time. It's like it's not, and I'm not fear mongering. I'm not claiming I know that I'm claiming like, can you not just see what's going on? Like at the least you shouldn't be playing games right now, right? And I definitely encourage people to not be playing games with the creator in general, but you don't want to play games in general with your salvation at all right now, right? Like I'm just throwing that out there, disclaimer. Okay. All right. So that's my position. And, hey, we could be 50 years out. I'm not like we could be 50 years out. I'm just saying this is really crazy, bro. This is really crazy. Okay. I know I just totally sidetracked with this like super meta point there, but like maybe someone needed to hear that. So you have Trump's son-in-law, right? You have Trump, this guy that I just described, right? He's just wilding out. I mean, he's always been wilding out. And we're talking about Trump. You said, well, let me just show you who Trump is. Okay. I'll just show you. The guy that was asked what his favorite Bible verse is, and he couldn't name one. The guy that was asked if he asked for forgiveness. He says, I don't think I've ever asked for forgiveness. I just try not to mess up in the first place. That guy.
Because it might help you get. You were doing an interview and you talked about how you hope to end the war in Ukraine because it might help you get into heaven. How does this help? Does this help?
I mean, I'm being a little cute. I don't think there's anything going to get me in heaven. Okay, I really don't. I think I'm not maybe heaven bound. I may be in heaven right now as we fly an Air Force One. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make heaven, but I've made life a lot better for a lot of people, and You know, as an example, had the election of 2020 not been rigged, you would have millions of people living just in Russia, Ukraine alone. That would have never happened. And it didn't happen for 4 years. And I knew Putin very well.
I mean, bro, what does he got to do? What does he got to do? Like, let me know. What does he got to do to show you who he is? Does he maybe have to, like, straight up look up at God and blaspheme him? Is that what he has to do? Is that what Trump needs to do? He needs to, like, look up at the sky and say, well, this is not working the way I was hoping it would. You have to look up in the sky and just blaspheme the creator?
Mr. President, so taking America into a recession, is it worth it? And do Americans need to back that up?
The fake news, of which many of you are members, is trying to convince the public to have a recession. Let's have a recession. 500 billion, ripped it out of the United States. And not only that, if you take a look, intellectual property theft, add that to it. And add a lot of other things to it. So somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it. So I'm taking on China.
Like, how forced and weird and creepy is that guy? Anyway, so, I mean, like, can we just be real? This is the same guy who's obsessed with gold, who, like, decided out of all the floors of the Trump Tower to live in the penthouse of the 66th floor, who has a giant painting of an angel stealing a woman against her will and a statue, and has Apollo, the sun god, painted like in a giant mural on his ceiling. I mean, he is who he's been for a long time. Okay. So, like, let's just be real. All right. Now we get into his son-in-law. Okay. Son-in-law, super creepy. Once again, biggest real estate deal in the history of the U.S. I mean, it certainly was at the time. I think it maybe still is. $1.8 billion for 666 Fifth Avenue. He really wanted that thing. He way overpaid for it, right? And you got this guy. He's in charge of the Middle Eastern peace deals. We know that the Antichrist in the end, he strikes a peace deal in the Middle East, and then he basically goes back on it halfway through, right? And then he goes in the temple and declares himself to be God. So now we need the temple to be built. We need some gigantic peace deal. Well, when would be a good time to have a peace deal? Right. Well, when right after a war, to end a war, like when everyone's freaking out, like this is about to be cataclysmic, something's got to give. Like there may be no return. Someone comes in and swoops in to save the day with a peace deal. I'm not claiming it's him. I'm just saying this guy, Abraham Accords. He's one of the most powerful people in the world that no one knows about. He's like not in an official elected position, but he's just making all kinds of decisions. And now, right, look what he's up to.
Still just a volunteer like other businessmen who volunteer to help the government.
Why does this guy rub me the wrong way? Like he just like, is it just me, or is he like super feminine and soft and like, I just don't like this guy.
When asked, the level of engagement has definitely been a lot more than I anticipated.
All right, we're not gonna watch the whole thing. It doesn't matter. He just makes a weird, creepy comment. Okay, check this out.
It could be a hope, it could be a destination, have a lot of industry, and really be a place that the people there can thrive, have great employment. Once this starts going, we think there should be 100% full employment and opportunity for everybody there. And we have a lot of data on what can be, but we think that this really gives the Gazan people an opportunity to live their aspirations. But it all starts with security. So demilitarization, this is something we're starting now that we have a new government.
When they say peace and security,
in Gaza, this government will be working with Hamas on the demilitarization to really take the principles that were agreed to in the document to the next phase, and hopefully that will be successful. Without that, we can't rebuild. So if Hamas does not...
Let me read this here. So much misinformation and misunderstanding of the Word of God. First of all, we should only be studying the KJV and 1611 AV Bible. All other versions and translations are corrupt and do not qualify. What? The 1611 version? What existed before then? All other versions are corrupted. What about the parts that the KJV took out? What about the mistranslations, like in Philippians? Like what? Like, so were all the people for that, including the Messiah, wrong? whenever he's asked about if there's marriage in heaven, and then he references a book that's not in the 1611 KJV. He says, "What you err in your ways, do you not know the scriptures or the power of Yah? For there is no marriage in heaven. You're like that of the angels." Where does it tell us in the scriptures in the 1611 canon that there is no heaven in marriage? I mean, there is no marriage in heaven because we're like that of the angels. Where does it say that? You know where it says? It says it in Enoch. So why is he referencing it as though it's scripture? Why does Jude directly quote Enoch? That's just one of countless examples. The KJV is not infallible. You know, King James was a psycho, right? Who also wrote about demonology. And people say, "Oh, it's just because he's studying." Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. His children were sick, and he brought in a bunch of like pagan, like magicians and sorcerers to heal them. And then once they were healed, so that no one would know, he killed them. A lot of circumstantial evidence the guy was also a sodomite. Okay, put that aside. Like, I'm not trying to poison the well, like, just because that guy sucks, right? Like, it's just like the argument itself is fallible in and of itself. I would say what we do is like we go back to, like, let's say the Septuagint, whatever. We start to actually study what the words actually mean, what the proper context is, right? So I really just don't like that, like dogmatic statements like that. It makes people just not even interested. Like if you envision being someone new to all this and like just finding out, whoa, bro, like I've been tripping. Maybe the scriptures actually are true. There's just so many people that suck and so many people that are so fake and so many people that are so judgmental and religious, but I see the way they live and I'm like, what are you doing? Right? That I don't even want to hear it. Right. Just imagine being a person that's like new to everything. And then they come and one of the first things they hear is like, it was just people trying to like really figure it out and look at everything. And they're like, man, it's just so much misunderstanding. You shouldn't even, first of all, nothing except for this specific version in this specific year should you even be allowed to talk about. It's like, bruh, please. Now, yeah, I'm sorry. I kind of feel like I'm picking on you at this point, but cool story, bruh. What shape is Earth? I don't know. I've never made a shape claim. Does that trigger you? If that was my answer. I mean, surface of the Earth is not curving, so it is. Yes, I still think the Earth is a stationary topographical plane. Shocker. Firmament, all that. Are you going to Conspiracy Music Gurus Gathering in September? I don't know. I haven't even heard of it.
Not demilitarize, that will be what holds back Gaza and the people of Gaza from achieving their aspiration, and that's very important. So the next 100 days, we're going to continue to just be heads down and focused on making sure this is implemented. And then finally, I'll just talk to people on the media and on the social media, which is this deal only happened because we worked with Israel, we worked with Turkey, we worked with Qatar, we worked with Saudi, we worked with Egypt. I mean, everyone worked together. We worked with UAE. We all worked together.
Bro, I mean, you can't even make this up, bro. Like, okay, Daniel 11:45. Let's just read it. What is that big thing behind them say right there? Board of Peace. He's the head of the Board of Peace. I wonder, can you guys hear my keyboard when I'm typing? Okay, so we'll go KJV for my homie in the chat over there. 1 Thessalonians 5:3. For when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, and travail upon a woman with child, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Okay, interesting. Daniel 11:45. And he shall plant the tabernacles of his palace between the seas and the glorious holy mountain, yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him. I mean, like right where Gaza's at. Okay, now, this weird, creepy guy, that's Abraham Accords, all kinds of weird ties, super powerful, 666 Fifth Avenue, just sketchy guy. All kinds of sketchy ties. Got Netanyahu living in his house, or like living in Netanyahu's house when he's young. I forgot which one or the other. Right, that video we watched where it's just like he's been in in the mix his whole life, right? You know, what's going on here? What's going on with this weird, creepy guy? And now he's the son-in-law of the president. The president appoints him as the head of the board of peace. And he's just going around talking about peace, 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 peace. How can someone with a straight face talk about a place that they just completely destroyed, call it prime real estate, quote unquote, right? And then talk about peace? Nah, bro. Like, you got to be kidding me, right? And so anyway, right where Daniel 11:45 says that it's going to build the Antichrist will build the palace before he's put to an end. He comes to an end. Dun dun dun. $28 billion allotted to your boy
Make
from
this
New
happen.
Gaza.
I see a lot of people trying to escalate, criticizing.
Call experience and trusted relationships.
In 1 month, the U.S. dropped more than 5,000 bombs.
Right here, by the way,
Here you go.
my favorite New Jersey and Jared Kushner. So, one of the things in Trump admin 1 that was a little suspect to me is that there were a lot of strange financial ties that would follow around Jared Kushner and his journey across the Middle East on behalf of the administration that involved money. And, it's like sometimes you're like, is there a there? Seems like there might be, but it goes under the radar. So I just thought it was very interesting that this tweet is from Patrick Howley, at Howley Reporter on Twitter, points out that Jared Kushner's Saudi-backed affinity partners. Remember, Jared Kushner was helping negotiate the Abraham Accords with Saudi Arabia in Trump term 1. Just keep that in mind. And he's also the guy who helped give a quote-unquote international stay of execution on MBS when MBS whacked Jamal Khashoggi in the Saudi embassy in Turkey back in 2018. He's the one, Jared Kushner went to Trump and he's like, hey, we can't fry him. You got to come out in his defense. And Trump basically said, so Jared Kushner's Saudi-backed Affinity Partners is the biggest shareholder in Israeli company Phoenix Holdings, which co-owns Israel's biggest weapons maker, Elbit Systems. Affinity also co-owns Shlomo Group, real name, which co-owns Israeli warship builder Israel Shipyards. A lot of American companies there. A lot of very born in the USA, if you will, companies. As in 0, not 1. But that's your negotiator, fucking playing pinochle with the fucking Iranians. We're not a serious country. Last president's a dead guy. This president has his fucking son-in-law who's invested in all these companies doing negotiations for world peace at the dawn of a fucking war. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I ask myself that every day, I think.
So there you go. It is super late. It's 1 o'clock. Obviously, I did not get started as early as I was hoping, 10:30. So we got 2.5 hours. So I'm trying to determine the best times. I'm thinking like 8 at night, maybe 9. 9's kind of late. We're streaming till like midnight. Taking like 8, and we can pop off like, I really want to get to where we're popping off like, at least 3-4 hours. And I'm just going to stream a lot. I'm just going to be streaming a lot. That's what I'm going to be doing. So, cool. So sorry that this stream was really late. Obviously, I guess West Coast it wasn't. All right. So here's the deal. The people that have stayed members, like, shout out to you guys. I can't even thank you enough, man. Like, super clutch. And I'm gonna hook up all the people that are like, I don't want to say it yet. Like, look, again, I get why a bunch of people that have heard me say things like, oh, I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna do this, or would just be like, shut up, bro, just do it. And like, fair enough, touche, right? But I'm gonna hook up the people that have been like holding it down. I'll go through the list this week. Whoever's on there, I'm gonna hook them up. I got a surprise in mind already, and yeah, so there's Patreon, there's Ko-fi, and we'll have some exclusive content, and then I'll maybe like explain a little bit more about what's going on and stuff. I'll just let you guys decide what we do, what we talk about. We're just gonna hang out. We'll have the X community up and ready to go, and then I'll just like run through there and react to what people want me to talk about or discuss and react to. We may do Discord as well. Haven't decided on Discord yet, but definitely like an X community. So like x.com/whatsitgetsit, and go to Kick and help a brother out. Go follow on Kick, right? Because there are all these like minimal requirements I need to reach, and then we're gonna like exclusively stream on Kick quite a bit, because I know that they're not gonna censor me. So Kick is the move, and I would really appreciate it if you go there. But if you're going to want to keep up with the content where it's fully uncensored, there's even like a debate that I'm hoping to get done, and it won't even be on YouTube, right? So let's just say a certain event back in the day, like in the 40s, where there's like this very dogmatic demand that you just obey the Holocaust, right? Like, looks like, that may be a quick little debate. Chop that up real quick. So that can't be on YouTube, obviously, but we'll just do everything on Kick, right? I try to rock with Rockfin quite a bit. I mean, it's Kick's the move. Kick's pretty clearly the move. So kick.com/whatsitgetsit. Yeah, cool, man. And this will be kind of the last stream that's in this format. It is just kind of my real quick jump back in. Let's let everyone know that we're back type of stream. So cool. Sorry, I'm a little rusty, but we'll get back in the swing of things. And yeah, I know the background's not the best, but it was either this or like 3 like picture frame, like paintings. So I could have done that. Cool. So I'll just kind of quickly say, in case some people weren't here, yeah, I've been gone for like a year. A lot of people thought it was because of Antarctica. I mean, I've heard all kinds of theories, especially now. Like, some people have seen me before now, and they're like, "Oh, he's a clone," and all this because I shaved my beard, I guess. Not a clone, definitely me. Didn't step away because of Antarctica. Had nothing to do with that. If anything, it was like one of the reasons I really was frustrated about stepping away, but I wanted to stream this whole time, and I just really couldn't, man. I just couldn't. And let's see, like, okay, so like I said, if you weren't here, I guess I'll just kind of update you, right? Like, yeah, I've been gone for like a year, pretty much, right? Barely streamed. That's crazy to even say out loud. It's so crazy. It's been like a year. But and I kept saying like, "Oh, I'll update everybody what's going on soon." Like, so Kai and I separated like a while back. I mean, there was kind of like, some gray areas and all that, but we're no longer together. And like I said earlier, obviously, if you guys have watched my content at all, like, I feel super passionate about children having both of their parents. I think it's like one of the most important things ever, especially their father, and living in the home with the father, being super close to the father. And I'm super, super close to my daughters, and Lee and I were already super, super, super close. And so this has been devastating to say the least, like hardest year of my life by far, like by far. And, with situations like that, I mean, it's just like worst case scenario in lots of ways, kind of, right? And it's just been very expensive and I mean, like, devastating financially, and it's just been a whole thing, and kind of nothing goes as planned, and you get it, right? I don't want to say too much, but I'm just kind of, I do like to be transparent. That's the truth, right? I'm not going to come on here in front like it's been rough. Like, I love my daughters more than anything in the world. Like, and I would do anything to be with them every day, and I'm not, and I haven't seen them much, and it's terrible. And I have to find a way to get a bunch of stuff situated and handled to be able to do that. And like, prayers appreciated. I think a lot of people may go through similar things, or I've been through similar things. I think someone like in my position, I kind of have a responsibility to be real, and that's what I'm doing, right? I'm not gonna like front about it, and I don't want to really go too much in depth. And when I talk too much about about my girls, I get emotional usually, and so I'm not gonna do that either. But yeah, like I said, like anyone that's listened to me for a while knows that that's something that I would have avoided if at all possible. And sometimes there, things happen that just you can't come back from. Um, and it is what it is. And so I'm not gonna, like I said earlier, I'm not like that's the mother of my children. I'm not gonna talk bad about her. Obviously, I wish her the best, um, and all that, And yeah, my life is kind of crazy, and I do feel like there's a reason for everything, and it's really kind of wild looking at it all, right? Like Ezekiel kind of starting my testimony, and then Hosea happening when I asked for a wife, um, and then everything that's happened over the last year, and I start being shown that those are kind of joined at the hip, and all of that. When I have like clarity as to everything, then I will explain that there. Okay. But like I said, so nothing to do with Antarctica, right? And no, I didn't just look up in the sky and be like, okay, now all of a sudden physical empirical measurements of the surface of the earth and like the definitive proof that we're not tilted, wobbling, spinning, rotating, free falling through a vacuum suddenly dissipate. Like I don't resonate with that. It makes no sense to me intellectually. So that isn't my position. And, it is what it is. I do plan on like streaming, talking about a bunch of topics though. I feel like with what's going on, like, people need to cover it. So that's my take on that. Cool, man. Yeah. Anyone that wants to kind of help out or support the channel, links in the description. I'll have all that updated where we'll just have a link page. It'll have everything. And I think the new format will kind of just be super chats, and we'll read them out at the end of the stream. Maybe have like a TTS thing. I'm not gonna lie though, when I watch streams and there's like TTS like going on randomly, like interrupting whatever's going on, I think that's the most annoying thing ever. Why do people do that? Like people just be talking and then all of a sudden it's like there's something stupid someone wants to say. I'm sorry, I can't. I will never. What does it say here? Daniel 8:19, and he said, "Behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation, for at that time appointed the end shall be." When the end comes near for those kingdoms, a bold and cruel king will come. This king will tell lies. This will happen when many people have turned against God. There you come in. Look at that. A bold and cruel king will come. The king will tell lies. I mean, if that's not Donald Trump, right? I don't know. Thank you, David. Should do some IRL collabs on Kick like with Clav. Well, okay. Let's see, 25. This king will use his wisdom to make lies successful. He will think that he is very important. He will destroy many people without warning. There you go. All right. Definitely support on Kick. Let me go check like Kofi and stuff like that. But welcome back, Archer. Thank you so much. Very generous. Welcome back. I appreciate it. Very generous. Thank you so much. We are back indeed. Scott, very generous. Thank you so much. Shout out to Quincy for becoming a monthly. All right, cool. That is it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Very, very generous, Archer. Very generous, Scott. I appreciate it so much. And I don't know. Like I can't go around and check everything. Like, I do have PayPal. One thing I will tell you guys, like a little while back, I got robbed, and they like wiped out everything. Like So this is so crazy, but they somehow were able to like use my Face ID on my phone. So like I had my phone stolen, I had like cash in my pocket stolen, and I had my ID stolen, which was like in my pocket. The only thing I can figure out, right, is that they used my ID to like bypass my Face ID. So then they're able to get in the phone. But think about it. If you have someone has your Face ID, like if you have an iPhone, they can get into everything. They were getting in my banks, they were getting in my Cash App, getting in my Coinbase. I mean, I'm talking about they literally wiped out everything. They wiped out everything. And obviously, you know, with crypto, it's gone. The banks like investigated forever, didn't do anything, just like totally left me hanging, didn't back it up at all. So I had a couple bank accounts that wiped it out, Zelling themselves. I don't have to go this whole story, but like it was brutal, dude. And Cash App, I brought that up just because of Cash App. Cash App like flagged my account for fraud and then like shut it down and they won't open it back up. I've like appealed it 2 times. Like, yo, I was robbed. What are you doing? Like, and they just won't open it back up. So I guess $, once it gets it, as far as I know, it's shut down, doesn't work. And they cleared that out. Yeah. As far as I remember, they didn't get into PayPal. I don't think they may have. I don't really know. It was just like wild. And then I go through all this stuff to kind of like reset everything and make sure we're good. And then all of a sudden, like weeks later, like I get hit again. Like they somehow, I don't even know how they did it. Like I overlooked something. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, I was only bringing that up because of Cash App. I mean, that's been a couple months now, but cool. So we'll have everything set up. I guess what I'm saying, because like I have the different ways to support. So I may like not see something right now, but we'll figure it out. And the links page will just be witted.me. That'll just be in everywhere. I'll have all the links. All right, cool. This is all I see right now. Definitely follow me on Kick. That's what's going to help me out the most. And then I'm going to try to contact them and help them or get them to help me fast track a partnership there. So that's the goal. So I need you guys to help me out and go follow, et cetera, et cetera. As far as every time I've checked on it, like the quality is good. Everything's working over there. So, all right, cool. All right, I appreciate you guys kicking it. Yeah, I know I'm kind of rusty. This is kind of all over the place, but we'll cover Artemis. Obviously, like no one's going out to the moon. Obviously, that's ridiculous. But we'll cover it like tomorrow or over the coming days. I'll kind of look into exactly when they claim that they're going to be where they're going to claim. We'll pick the best day to kind of look at it, and then I'll show you guys a bunch of the glitches that I'm sure they'll have and a bunch of mess ups. Pretty funny, right? Because it doesn't really matter what I'll say about that. It doesn't matter how much they change everything and it's just terrible. They roll it out and they brag about it like it's some big deal. Like you're supposed to be walking on the moon. I thought this was supposed to happen like 4 years ago. And now it's just like you're going around the moon again. I think they're just terrified of actually, they know they don't actually have to do anything. All they have to do is keep putting it off, and they could put it off for the next 20 years, and that they'll have like the NASA fanboys making excuses, saying something about the budget, saying something about how it's dangerous. Like it doesn't matter. And then we're getting like what Nintendo 64 graphics, and we still can't get live footage, but we supposedly did in like the 60s, but we can't get live footage. And then everyone complained about it on the last one, and now they still aren't going to give it to you. So I really don't know what they have to do other than just tell you like, bro, this is fake, so that's my take on that. But we'll maybe cover Artemis, because obviously that's a pretty big event going on. And I hate to break it to you, man, but they be lying. Nobody's going to the moon, bro. Let it go. And then we'll break down a lot of this more in depth, kind of what's going on. So like I will tell you, like, I plan on streaming way more often, right? So it's just going to be a lot of content. I can't have like back in the day, say with like Middle Ground and Schooling Globers. If people request it quite a bit, like if supporters request it when we're all hanging out, like and like say the exclusive content or whatever, if you're on Patreon or like Ko-fi or whatever, then yeah, I may do like an occasional middle ground or something, but that required like tons and tons of prep. I could never do that like daily or something. But if people want something, I mean, obviously I'm not gonna like just completely abandon that content. I think it's extremely important. And my position is still that's extremely important. And they lied about the earth and it's in the center of everything. And that means it had to be placed there. And that means that it's special. That means that you're special. That means that there's a meaning, there's a purpose, and then everything is being lied about. And that there's basically an ether and it's swirling around over top of us. And they know that. They utilize that. They jump up in there. They utilize it. The equations say that they utilize it. And so what better way to deceive the world than to make sure they don't know really how the world works or what it is or what the realm is or how anything's going down. And that is indisputable, right? And it's overwhelming. The evidence is overwhelming. So there you go. That's my take on that. And we'll definitely cover that as well. And we're going to get back into the debates. I know like a lot of people's favorite content of mine are debates. I will not be doing like these really toxic lame ones where people are allowed to just incessantly interrupt me, but I'll get back into debates. And we were floating around the idea of me launching a debate platform. I would have to delegate that out. A lot of people would have to help me run it. I'm not particularly interested in moderating, right? Like I'd rather just occasionally do a debate, but we'll see how that goes. All right, cool. Thanks for kicking it. Audit NASA. Yeah. I mean, if again, that would have to be delegated out. I mean, I just saw the other day when I was going through everything that I've paid so much money for like that website and like the websites plus marketing package plus the domain, the protection, like that's been coming out of my pocket this whole time. It is still a thing as far as I understand. I mean, I went on one browser, didn't work, on another one it did work. Audit NASA. If people want to help with it, right? Like what ended to happen with that is like it became like this full-time job for me that I was spending like hundreds of dollars out of pocket to do, and it wasn't feasible. If people want to all come together, I'm happy to, use my platform to push it forward, try to use my connects, and even help run point on things, but it would have to be delegated. That was extensive. As we started diving in, there's like all these walls every which way you go, and to like really get up in there, it takes some diligence. People would have to be willing to invest time. And obviously I'm not over here balling about to be able to hire all kinds of people to investigate the freaking federal government, right? The goddess herself, Artemis, is triple moon archetype. Artemis kills Orion. Is that what we're going to see? She helped resurrect him. Well, I don't know. You think that, are you suggesting that maybe, there's like a false flag and they die? Trump said no forever war. Yeah. He also said just no more stupid, meaningless wars in the Middle East. All right, cool. Thanks for kicking it. This was cool. It's good to be back. I like it. I hope you guys are cool with the setup. I think in the grand scheme of things, be somewhat temporary. Like I said, I'm working towards the goal of moving again. So yeah, this is just kind of like a temporary setup, and we just got to get a lot of stuff situated. So prayers appreciated. Now you guys know. I think a lot of you guys probably put it together right a while back, but yeah, your boy's single, and have been for a little minute. All right, cool. So I love you guys. Seek and speak truth unequivocally. The weak find contentment in the consensus of ignorance. So who cares what other people think? Seek and speak truth regardless of what other people think. Stay true to your morals. And I can tell you now, like, right, I mean, after this last year, dude, sometimes it gets rough. You just gotta keep your faith. You gotta keep your head up. You gotta accept sometimes, things are out of your control. And I'm like in that position maximum right now. I don't even know. Like, it's kind of like the way that it goes. But yeah, it's cool. I'll tell you this, what kind of has like kept me cool through this whole situation is I would be like, yo, how's this fair? And then I would read Hosea and I'd be like, how's it fair to Hosea? Right. And like, how is any of this fair? And then I'd be like, how's this fair to Joseph? And then I started to remember like, oh, it's just like, It isn't about being fair, right? Like every time the creator needs something done, you know, he chooses someone and you can view it as an honor, right? Where it's like, oh, like he knows you're strong enough to go through that, or that you'll be able to, you know, persistently keep your faith and do this or whatever. Like you can view it as an honor to go through struggle. And like if you're able to flip your switch there, it is very useful. It changes everything. I know it's meta, but maybe someone needed to hear it. That was really big for me. Okay, cool. I think we're good. I will stream tomorrow. I'm not sure about the time. So what I would say is like Telegram, X, like I'll do the more frequent updates and stuff on Telegram, right? And then I think there's like What's It Gets It streams and What's It Gets It. I'm gonna have to pick one and rock with it. I think that like the one with the less preferable domain has like more people, but we'll just build the other one up. Who cares? And we're gonna just pop off some debates, right? That's what I think is time. We need to pop off some debates. First of all, anyone wants to be running their mouth sideways about the creator, or they want to act like there's some atheist, or they can, come get chopped up. I got you, bro. Someone wants to say that we're spinning, tilted, wobbling, free falling through space. Come get diced up. I got you. You know what I'm saying? Anyone wants to try to come talk about how we should be so super pro Israel, they're our ally. Like come over here. I got you. You know what I'm saying? Basically anything that I hold as an intellectual position, happily will debate it. A couple appearances that we're working out should start popping off here soon. So everything's going to start getting rolled out, and there'll be a website, keep up the content there, all that. And then we're just going to kind of kick it. If you're one of the members, then you'll kick it. You'll get pulled into the private Discord. We'll just hang out. And while I'm working on putting content together or whatever else throughout my day, whenever I'm not doing a couple other things I'm trying to do, then we will just hang out. That's kind of the way it'll go. All right. I'm just going to say it again. Hell, brother, I'll go to kick.com/what's it. I know it's crazy. It's like a lot of people probably, they don't even like have Kick. They don't. I just go download it, go follow me. What's it gets it. Throw on some notification. Yeah, and then shout out to the other person. I may do IRL. Like I think I might talk at some universities and then go around IRL a few places. So that'll be a little bit. We'll work our way towards that. So, and what I will say in closing, just so you understand kind of the summary, I do like to do that. Look, man, like be careful not to be sleepwalking during Revelation, right? I'm just saying, like, don't be blissfully unaware sleepwalking in Revelation. It's pretty crazy what's going on. And, Iran is Persia. And, you have the whole world pissed at Israel, and Israel just keeps going. It's like they're like, oh, like whoever runs Israel's PR needs to be fired immediately, right? It's like, so the whole world hates us right now, sir. Like, I think that we maybe should no, push on Lebanon, displace 1 million people, then right after we drag America into a war that their entire country doesn't want to actually be in, and the entire American population voted against and hates and despises, and they're super pissed because we've like dragged them into like wars repeatedly with false intel that only benefit us and not them, and then they have their soldiers die. And then they kill tons of civilians, and then everyone in the Middle East starts hating them, and then we'll just blame it on like Muslims or whatever, and then we'll just keep rinsing and repeating, and then we'll push them into that war. We'll use Trump, so we'll ultimately betray them because Trump said that he would never do the exact thing that he's now going to do, and then we'll just act like it's going to be a few days, and then we'll just like. We know that they're cooked, and every time they're about to have some type of resolution, we're going to sabotage and kill all the negotiators. But outside of that, you guys can send all your sons and daughters over there to die on the ground, because what we're going to do is start to make the Greater Israel Project. So that's like my synopsis, right? My prediction, they're making their move. They are not going to go back now. Gaza was the beginning. They made it very clear. We're going to keep going. This is like their once in a lifetime opportunity. How many times do you get Donald Trump in office, right? How many times do you get someone that's going to be like as obedient or compliant to what you want as Donald Trump? How many times are you going to have this opportunity if you are Israel? Not very often, right? And they're taking advantage of it. So in my opinion, they're pushing for the Greater Israel. We just showed you. I mean, we're talking about Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq. I mean, mind-blowing amount of expansion, right? So if you have imperialist goals like that in 2026 and everything's kind of documented for the world to see, you're going to piss a lot of people off. Are we potentially seeing the setting of the world turning on Israel, and eventually there actually being a time that they're converged on for like a kinetic war? I mean, you know, who knows? That would be Gog and Magog. We would be in a crazy time. Again, I say Daniel 11:45. Looks like it could be Gaza. New Gaza, $28 billion to rebuild it. Jared Kushner, super sus. Looks like a lot of crazy stuff. And look out for manufactured energy crisis. Look out for the mosque getting hit. Two major things to look out for. And obviously, I want all this to really take its time at the least, because where I'm at right now, I got to figure a lot of stuff out and get over to take care of my babies. But just make sure that you're good. And I would say, yeah, get your affairs in order and just kind of like see the world and what's going on, and then just kind of come to terms with like, you know, there may be like a very like rapid kind of change of scenery, because I can think of like 3-4 events that can happen in theory tomorrow and everything changes drastically. And, you know, we got this goober Trump. You're going to, you know, keep us in a war. You can suspend elections. You don't got to go anywhere. Is that, you know, maybe he's like the last president, like it was predicted. So, yeah, I think those are kind of the big things, but it's not like I'm going to be gone for another year. We're going to be back tomorrow. Not sure about the time, anywhere between like 7 to 9, I would think 7, 8 or 9. And, we'll stream for a good three hours at least each time we stream. So go follow me on Kick. And I think tomorrow night we may just end the stream on Kick. So you definitely want to be there. This is a long goodbye. I just want to keep checking the chat here. What about the alien invasion schedule? Oh, I don't want to miss super chats. Cool story, bro. What shape is Earth? Oh, I read all these. Oh, I didn't. If you apply audience relevance to time statements in the Bible, you'll see Jesus either came back in 80, 70, or he lied. What does soon mean? 2,000 years? I've heard this before. Obviously, I understand the argument of, you know, the little season. I do not agree with it, but I don't want to answer the soon question right now at the end of the stream. If I had seen it earlier, I maybe would have, but to be continued. But no, I don't. I mean, you know, it says whenever he lands, he destroys the Mount of Olives, you know, and like my issue with this is like a lot of stuff that needed to happen when I ask about it. It's just like, oh, well, we're in the season of deception. So like everything could be different and we don't know where anything is. And it's just like, well, okay. I mean, I guess you could come up with any theory with that. There are some pretty direct refutations of the idea. So thanks for sharing more content. We've missed you. Thank you so much. And thanks for the support. Sorry to hear about your troubles. I've been through similar stuff. Kids come first. Much respect for you. Stay strong, brother. Keep sharing truth if it makes sense. You're the man. Thank you so much, Mike, for the support and the kind words. Cool. We're good. All right. Cool. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll have pretty much a lot of stuff rolling out over the next couple days. So you guys will see all the content and we'll start chopping stuff up and we'll get the rocking. So long time no see. We're back. Sorry for the time away. A lot of people have been hitting me up. Shout out to all the people that hit me up, checking on me and all that. It was much appreciated. Shout out to the people that supported me behind the scenes and held me down when I was gone. And you know, stuff happens, but here we go. You know, we're back at it. So I'll catch up with you guys. Manana. Peace out.
Say they high, say they sip pills, glorify, so suicide so they get the deals. Big pharma set it up, had to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in the field. That's for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Took the way you saw the world, then distorted it. Now you think you wanna rock that twirl somewhere orbiting. Theories disproportionate, the truth distorted quick with a forceful grip. They force a misinfo that we absorbing quick. Took the people's signature, that mean extorted it. They forging it. If news ain't cause informants who informing them. There's a surplus, but they tell us there are shortages. Credit economy mortgages, dollar that's supported with empty fortresses. But what's important is this: we courting ships, important gifts. Of course it is, what extortion is in accordance with an assortment list of foreign tricks. We ignoring which informant this, informant this. It looked like we were snoring tricked. Pedophilia and the government endorsing it. Yeah, eugenics is exactly what abortion is. You just vilify those insubordinate. Way to matrix engineer, that's unfortunate. Geopolitically we in a field. That's for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Rappers actors say they high, say they sip with pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big pharma set it up just to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in a field. That's for Israel. Wonder, is it real?